Okay, this is the third episode of 4 of the Defy the Gods playtest called Hearts Caught Between Glory and Doom, recording it for the Gauntlet. And shit was wild last time. Before I get into that recap, I want to go over some things that changed in the character keeper and the rules. Starting with the safety tools tab, I separated sexuality and sexual interactions because we definitely had a veil on sexual interactions, but last episode was also very sexy. So if anybody wants a veil or ask first or anything on sexuality, go ahead and click it. That was very cool last time, just everything that came up. On the characters tab, I did make some changes. I've increased the number of checkboxes in the Glory Doom track so that you can fill it up with Doom and have a longer character arc. That won't come up for our playtest, but it was something I wanted to do. I did change the drink deep move so that you're not getting all these glory dice. And I got rid of the soothe move. We'll see how that works because I made a soothe-like move for every playbook that has different flavor. And so I took some of the stuff that was in the drink deep move and I put it in the sailor's carouse move. There might be a better name for that because they both feel like carousing. But I just made sure that these were checked moves for everybody. So the sorcerer now has a move called Make Flesh New, which is meant to be a little bit creepy. I'm looking forward to how that can be visualized well or made creepy in an interesting way. The sailor has carouse, so with the swords move, you clear all the conditions in one column and you get glory, just one glory if you roll well. With the sorcerer, you clear all the moods in one column and you can choose to mark a curse to let everybody else unmark a curse. It's the only one that, it might be the only place currently in the rules where you can unmark a curse, so I'm curious about that. With the sailor, you gain hearts if you roll well, in addition to clearing conditions one move. With the mystic, you have ecstatic ritual, which I moved out of a divine power and just made it a regular move because you're rolling hearts or not. And because with that one, if you roll really well, the mystic at least gets to clear all conditions. We'll see how that works. But just because the mystic spends so much time collecting conditions, it seemed like it might be an interesting one. But it's also got a high risk as well as high reward, where everybody loses a glory die and a heart die and marks a mood if it's a loss. With the wolfling, there's the lick your wounds move, where it's mostly like the sailor's move. I'm looking for more ways to make them more distinct. It's just got different flavor text. With all of these, if you roll a miss or if you just don't like it, one other person can roll to hearten your move. So there's sort of a second try with that, just one other person. But I think between those two moves, those two rolls, it should be pretty good. I am looking for ways so I'll be interested in the playtest to see if we interact with those. The idea is that there would be a loosely structured downtime. And in that downtime, one playbook can choose to soothe everybody. And you'll sort of choose who gets to do it this time based on the flavor you want or based on the particular benefits you're looking for. And then we might have more of a sense of here's where you're adventuring and here's where you're recovering, and loosely get into phases of the game. Not in a total Blades in the Dark way, but just to say this is stuff that happens during downtime. I'm looking for other stuff that might happen during downtime, like reaching out to contacts or other stuff like that. A little bit of Blades in the Dark in there. As you look concerned.
No, I'm just looking at all the moves. I'm just like,
Okay, all right,
how do
yeah.
we incorporate all of this stuff?
You don't have to incorporate all of it, I'm just telling you what's out there.
Okay.
With the Mystic, I did like you suggested, I think it was Elle who suggested it, that I just took out the middleman with the borrowed glory. Now you just mark conditions. I had this thought that you could like store up conditions or store up borrowed glory by marking conditions and then unmark them, and you still have the glory. You still have those points. But I don't think the game is that long term in terms of how long. I don't think the charge and spend cycle is that long with the Mystic. You just mark the mood when you need to, and you do the move. I would love to get rid of the influence move and give every playbook their own way of influencing people. And I'm kind of halfway toward that, but I've still got the influence move because I don't really have an analog for that in every playbook. And I have things that are kind of like it, but also very different. They don't give you all the same options. What else? One thing that I have started to get a sense of in this playtest and one other playtest is that these characters have journeys. I'm starting to get just an intimation of what the longer arc could be. And one thing that I've noticed is that while there's a curse that you take on every time you mark a curse track, there isn't anything similar and more lasting for when you mark doom. And it might also be interesting to have something when you take a glory advance, when you fill out your XP track and take an actual positive advance. I'm still trying to figure out what the best way to do that would be. I'm wary of adding 2 more lists that you pick from that just really make these playbooks enormous. Like, but I have this idea of maybe like, and it's not in the rules now, we're not going to play it like this tonight, but that you could have like a token that you take from your last XP track arc or your last curse track arc that is not a token like a blowing outside belonging token, but like a memento of some kind that becomes a permanent part of your character's history that you can call back to and bring into scenes, maybe by rolling an extra glory die with it or something like that. Still kind of fuzzy, but I don't even know why I'm bringing it up because it's not in the rules yet. I
Are
think
you
that's
trying to
everything.
are you
Yeah.
trying to like it's like something tangible or something memorable to kind of like give us advantage or bump up a tier? Is that what you're trying to do with that particular
Not
thing?
bump up a tier, but maybe give you a glory die you can bring into your role when your past is relevant. Like
Interesting.
it
Okay.
could be tangible, it could be just a memory, but just a
Right.
little phrase that you write down.
Oh, it's almost like a mantra type of thing that you
Or
can use.
or it's like a phrase on your playbook, on your character sheet, but for you it's just a memory. For the character, it's a memory.
Ah,
And it's like, well, I suffered so much in that one adventure where I lost my friend or my cat died or something, and I and and so I'm drawing on that now to give me extra grit or something like that.
I mean, it's basically like, in real life where it's like there's like kind of like shaping incidents,
Yeah,
yeah, that
yeah.
still affect you, and it's like it kind of steered you a certain way. So I get that. Yeah, I mean,
And I mean, a lot of this is usually done in PBTA in the playbook moves, where you take a new move or you take an advancement move, and that helps shape the kind of character you become. I'm just interested in that journey, like who is the character you're going to become? Who is your character going to be by the end? Because it's going to be weird. Anyway, I'm thinking out loud at this point. The Yeah, it's a lot like a trophy in Aegon, and I should go back and look at that again. The There was something else too. Oh, there's a new tab called Copy of the Party, where I've actually hidden most of the tab of the columns on there. But this was in response to some feedback from last time of like, why are we even all together? Now with this party, it's not a problem because you all have so much history that you wrote in with the relationship questions. But I made a list of what, like 7 things that are possible reasons that a party that doesn't have the history that your characters have could start out together. And that was helpful in a recent playtest. I also made a sort of dynamic question that comes up based on the 2 abundances that you pick, which you all again have already answered this, but it's like, where does the party start out? Like, what is your, physical situation on the ground at the very beginning of the game? And again, I don't think that we're gonna need this tab, but I added it so that, yeah, it's just response to your feedback. I think that's everything. Let's get started. You all good? So, Etienne, I'm curious about when it was that you got out of this betrothal. It seems like it was around the time when 1 year turned over into the next. And was that just this past year, like what, exactly 1 year ago, or was it 2 years ago? I'm just curious because it matters like which god was coming into power and which wasn't.
I excuse me. I don't think we've clearly defined that yet. But that decision, I like the idea that it's not too long ago, but also I don't want it to be too soon because it directly, like that was the trigger for Ampyx to just turn to Luthor, sorry.
Right.
And so I don't want to tighten, like condense that time frame for Ampyx. So like I'm perfectly comfortable with it being. I think when we were first discussing it, I like the idea that it's not too long ago that it's kind of forgotten or irrelevant for the town and for Babylos. Like it's still kind of. I think it would be more juicy for the it to still be kind of like still kind of scandalous a little bit. So I think that it would be good if it wasn't too long ago that it was still in the general public's mind and could cause us problems. But at the same time, I don't want it too soon, too recent because I don't want the implications for Ampyx. So Elle, what do you think about the time frame? What sounds like good, like a year ago or 2 years ago
Or 3.
Um,
3?
I'm totally okay with it being a year ago. It sounds like that works best for you, and it sounds great to me.
Okay.
Awesome. Let's say a year then.
Okay, cool. And then that was the start of your um, Ampyx's special relationship with Thor, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, Chris, Elle and I chatted last time about some possible more kind of goth that might have been that might have had that in real impact to kind of get Elle and give Elle that ammunition and fuel for Ampyx to 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 convert to Lithor. Should I talk about that now, or should we keep that kind of like as a maybe?
Um,
Sorry to
yes.
put you on the spot.
No, that's fine. Yeah, since we're kind of working on firming that up now, sure, let's talk about
So we were kind of because I was feeling like I thought that it'd be nice to have a bit more like, again, scandal around in this around this event, and enough that might send someone like Ampyx over the edge. And I suggested that one option would be that Etienne had to convince this priest of Lithor to to give him that out from the betrothal, and that it would and that initially the priest had a condition that Etienne would sleep with them in order to to be so that they would agree to do this. And
Everyone wants a piece of Etienne.
yeah, well, kind of. And so Etienne, of course, agreed because they had little choice. They really wanted to get out of this betrothal. And Ampyx saw what them in the act, and remember, Ampyx was in love, or had was a lover of Etienne's in the past, and so that knowledge, when so we didn't I don't think we don't I don't know if we know whether or not Etienne knew that Ampyx had caught them, but either way, the priest that happened, and the priest came through and upheld Etienne's claim, and the betrothal was scandalously cancelled, and he successfully reneged on it. They successfully reneged on it. So so that's kind of what we were working on in the background. Elle, did you have anything you wanted to add to that? Did you have any thoughts about whether or not Ampyx caught Etienne red-handed, or if Ampyx just saw them, and that was the catalyst for the change, and didn't confront Etienne, or didn't the two of them, the lovers, didn't see Ampyx? What do you think?
Yeah, I think she definitely unambiguously knows that this event happened. I don't think that she confronted Etienne and the priest in the moment. So it's perhaps not clear that Etienne knows that she knows.
Yeah, I like that. That's cool.
Interesting.
I like that
Interesting.
ambiguity.
I also like the idea that it was a priest of Lithor that officiated your official reneging. And I think we established it was probably like noon the next day, not during the gloaming hour when the handoff chain happened between gods. Because I had this idea that like every year, it's the end of one cult's year and the beginning of another cult's year. And the third cult I was thinking would act like the officiant, the one that handles the handovers, since they're the one that doesn't have a stake in it. And last year it would have been Lithor. And so they're perfect for that. I think so. I was calling the person who you jilted, basically, Tanis. Does that name work for you?
Yeah, absolutely. How do you spell it?
Tannis.
Okay.
And they're like a young scion of this house. I don't have a name for the house. I think one, but that is a big wheel in the temple of Lithor. And this person, Tanis, is up and coming. And I don't think you've seen much of them since then, where they've just been, but you've heard about them. They've clearly been making big political moves. They've made big donations to the temple of Lithor. They've been seen to have been, I don't know, making speeches from the temple or something. And now that Lithor's year is coming, they're going to be part of the government of the city. And they think that you got out of this fair and square. And they were crushed by it. Do they know where to find you? Since you all are sort of bunking in the back of this brothel?
I don't think so. I think that Etienne kind of remains a bit elusive. Like, I think that maybe they've still had contact, but I don't think like they know where Etienne lives here in the city.
Mm-hmm. You're sort of an alley cat, it sounds like.
I'm getting that vibe, yeah.
And I mean, you have a ship, right? Like you come and go. There's a lot of
Yeah,
trade
that's
that needs
right.
to happen. You have a job. That's legitimate.
That's right. I'm a sailor.
Tomcat, definitely. Yeah, Tomcat. So I just want to bring us back to where we were last time. Kamil, you were seeing shadows moving that shouldn't be moving. I believe, if I remember right, you had this sense that the shadows were their own habitat and there were predators in there that had detected you. Do I have that right? That was like, there was some sort of world, I don't know if it was the shadow world or the spirit world, where you were like, you felt exposed.
Yeah, I've taken the curse. The shadow cats have my scent.
That's it, right?
So that can be interpreted as you like, but yes, I imagine that something from my home or something has come through a gate and has followed me here into the city, or has followed my people here if they're here as well. It's definitely ambiguous. You have much to play with, Chris, but yeah.
Okay, cool. And Ampyx, you had this vision that these shadows were coming up from below and that Luthor was complicit in this, and that it was going to be very bad.
Yes.
Have you talked with Luthor about this? Do you talk with Luthor? Are you on a first name basis?
I think I do talk to her. Right now I'm kind of thinking that it's more like she has my number and I don't really have hers. But we talk
Okay,
when she wants
okay,
to.
okay, excellent. Yeah, I think she's probably very busy right now, you know? She's about to take over a city, a lot to do. I'm thinking about, so Circe, you and Ampyx had this amazing conversation last time, and you were suggesting that this might be a good thing for Ampyx, right?
She becomes more of herself.
Yeah, right.
Or is that what she fears, to become more of herself? If she decided to break away from her goddess. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And also too, I mean, like, Circe's not sure, like, what's actually real, I think. Because I mean, like, the reality warping and then the ancient voices haunting her. So yeah, there's a few things in play here. So I mean, she could be kind of distracted at the moment. So I don't know if that's something that she can try to like heal herself or soothe or whatever the hell we're doing right now.
Yeah, sure. We could totally do a a healing move. That would be cool. Estan, where are you at? You were helping.
Yeah, and I think that's more of what Estan is doing. Like, this is the next day, right? And
Yeah.
so Estan is back at the brothel, like kicking out people who don't want to leave, and then helping clean up, and like massaging people who like maybe stretched too many limbs in too many directions the night before. So just generally being helpful.
Nice. Okay, cool. I think it's quiet, you know. People can't party 24/7. There's still some revelers, but they're running out of steam. And people are sleeping it off and eating greasy foods in anticipation of fueling up for the next night, because they've got a week to get through. The 6 days left. I think that I think that somebody comes to the brothel. Well, first of all, if you all want to do a recover move, you totally can. I don't think there are a lot of conditions marked. You did some at the end of last session, but Ampyx has one mood marked and Kamil has one mood marked. Oh, actually, you were coming off that frenzy, so you can unmark that now.
Yes, I will unmark
Yeah.
that.
I noticed, Chris, that we that there's XP triggers for the end of the session. I wasn't
Yes.
sure if you wanted to skip those for the playtest, or if you,
No, let's do
you
them. That's totally fine. I tend to forget about them, unfortunately. But yeah. You want to hit those triggers from last time? Like,
I mean, because I don't think we had a chance to. I mean, like I think we were running up to time
right.
last time, so doing
Yeah.
it now wouldn't be a bad idea.
Well, let's just go in character keeper order. Estan?
Yeah, I think the only one I hit was the consequences of your actions catch up
Yeah,
to you, maybe. That's about it.
that works. You can mark
Mhm.
XP for that. Yeah.
Mhm.
And Circe?
I think chaos changed her. I mean, like with
For
the
sure.
reality warping. Did you help others to see how old and strange the world is? I don't know if I did that per se. I mean, it was kind of like the whole conversation, like the two questions are like kind of tied in together of like, did you see how old the strange world is, and did you spite the laws of gods and mortals, in terms of like trying to talk to Ampyx and say, hey, here's a different way to think about your situation regardless of what you saw, and then like kind of putting her own flavor on the vision of, well, it's like your god may be about secrets and all this kind of stuff, but I mean, like I'm the one with the shadows and illusion and destiny, so kind of flouting like my stuff in their face, in Luther's face. I'm pretty sure. So
I think that works. Yeah,
okay.
those are both good.
Okay. So all right.
And Etienne.
Yeah, I'm not sure I did too many of mine. Did you explore some place or someone new? I don't think so. Maybe Laverna, maybe a little, but not really. So I don't think so.
Or maybe just the carnival streets. I think
I feel
that
like
counts.
Etienne's been to carnival before.
Yeah, not your first rodeo. Sure.
Yeah, I feel like that. Did you help others see how wide and varied the world is? I don't know. Maybe Etienne taking Estan and Camille out on the town. Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
absolutely. Especially
Yeah,
for
that's a
Camille,
yes.
who was
Yeah,
relatively new to the city.
yeah. Although Camille kind of left on his own, on her own, sorry, and but they kind of caught up in the middle there, so that was good. Did you bristle against the confines of your relationships?
That will come up this time.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
I
sure.
don't think so. Not yet. No.
Yeah, that's
So
fine. I think you can
I'll just
mark
take
one.
maybe
Yeah.
one.
Ampyx. How about yours?
Yeah, let's see. Did you demonstrate the power of your god? I did like the augury ritual, although I suppose that wasn't demonstrating my power like to or the power of my god to someone else. So maybe I didn't get that one. Did your divine powers distance you from your friends? I think
That
definitely the
definitely.
results of the augury put some tension between her and Circe.
And also just you're going to do the augury off by yourself while everyone else was enjoying the night. I think that definitely counts.
Then coming
Yeah.
back in to say, "Your joy shall end soon. Your doom approaches." I was like, "Oh, okay."
That's a distancer. All right, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. And did you gain greater understanding of the ways of the pantheon gods? Um, I think she gained a greater understanding perhaps of Lither's plans and
Yeah,
machinations. So
that works. And Camille.
I think my one and only is: did you struggle with the need for human companionship?
That
I'll probably
works.
take that one as a little self-inflicted, but I think um, I certainly got into. I mean, it wasn't a huge struggle, but
You were kind of on a different wavelength from other people for most of the night,
I was. Yeah, I was not able to
thanks to the
read.
Dance of Seven Lightnings.
Yes. Yeah, but that was very much the same wavelength.
So, so I think that the Eston, while you're cleaning up and kicking people out, well, just gently shoving them out the door. I think that a sailor from Etienne's ship shows up, and just sort of a big round guy, kind of walks like he's got sea legs, used to walking on a ship, and says, is this Liborna's house?
Oh, and I wave them over so they can see me and like recognize me.
Oh, hey, that's done. Yeah. Hey, look, I know I'm supposed to stay with the ship and all, but is Etienne around?
Yeah. Well, Etienne is like probably sleeping off the wild time we had last night, but um I can look for them. Is there a
I just
problem?
I I'm supposed to give him the scroll. Maybe you could give it to him for me. Somebody came by the ship looking for him. Uh,
Mm.
and he sort of shyly hands you the scroll. He's kind of he's a little starstruck around you, I think. And
Yeah, I take the scroll and then I lean over to kiss him on the top of the head. Thank you so much.
he's got like this close
Incredibly
crab
helpful.
shaped head. He blushes from his toes up. Oh, golly. All right. Yeah. You bet. I'll see you around. I'll be at the ship. We're down at the
Of,
docks on the
of
west
course, of
side.
course. Thank you, friend. I will look for Etienne post haste. I just have to look for the smell of flowers and alcohol, I'm sure.
All right, we'll see you. And the scroll has a a seal on it with a big moon with an eye slit in the middle of it.
Ooh, this looks official. Yeah, so I keep it like under my robes for, just to make sure it's safe. But I immediately look for Etienne just to like we've traveled enough that I kind of know where they tend to pass out, right? Um so
Right. I think. What are the rest of you doing? What are you up to?
Also passed out.
Also past that, yeah. I think Lubarna is like making coffee, that nice thick coffee that she's making a small pot, hold it over the fire, and the smell of coffee and sizzling food is starting to spread through the house, and various flute girls and flute guys are kind of getting up and putting on their home face, when the guests aren't around, and just little shifts and padding out in bare feet, sitting around this. Like I think the seats are arranged in a circle, but there's no big table in the middle. It's just like little tables in between them, and they're just sipping coffee and starting to eat and chattering with each other. And it's sort of a slow warming up of the house. So, Etienne, when you do get up, this scroll is there, and it's from Tanis, and they say, I know we haven't spoken in a while. The favor of your attendance at our villa would be appreciated. So I don't think there's much more than that, but it's a bit formal and cryptic. Doesn't say much.
And I think Etienne reads this and they've got like a splitting headache, and they're like Etienne just puts it down and it's like groaning
I have the
he's looking.
hangover drink that you usually
Yeah, yeah, like, oh, it's done. I could kiss you. Thank you. And drinks the coffee. Is like, oh, is this better? And and like, I think looks around at everyone, and is like, tries to make, just isn't paying attention to the scroll, like doesn't want to, just wants to forget about it, like, and starts making conversation and talking. Yeah, what happened last night? Wow, that was a good time. Where are we going tonight?
Well, hopefully more of a good time, friend, but shouldn't we take a look at, is there something that we need to look at? Like I'm kind of like looking towards the scroll but being very polite and like not pushing.
Oh, I don't think so. It's fine. It's for later. Later. It's too early for business. I do you have another coffee? I need some more to drink. Estan, you're the best.
Of course, friend. And so like I know better than to push, right, in these situations. So I definitely get more of the coffee, maybe a little stronger.
The barn has got you.
Oof, oof.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think Ampyx has been sort of mingling with the workers at the brothel, not really speaking with them, but just sort of sitting with them, flitting around, listening to the gossip from the night before, because that is her breakfast. Like, she's not really drinking the
Right.
coffee or eating the food, but she's like picking up like little tidbits of secrets and scandalous scandalous happenings. But I think she does look over at where Etienne and Estan are sitting, and she sees that scroll and the seal on it, and she'll be trying to kind of catch Etienne's eye with this like very worried look on her face.
And I think Etienne kind of sees Ampyx through the morning haze of their hangover, and kind of like sees what Ampyx's pointed look, and he's kind of like just trying to deflect, like, no, this isn't happening. Just like look, like just like I think they try to look away, and then they see like, does Ampyx still keep trying to catch Etienne's eye, or does Ampyx kind of like, oh no, this is, it's try to avoid it.
I think once she sees that Etienne is kind of trying to ignore it for now, I think she has this look that's like, oh well, of course. And she won't press it in the immediate you know, she won't immediately go over and say like, you have to deal with whatever that is. But she's like taking a mental note. She's not gonna let
Yeah.
him forget or them forget about it.
Also, it's just lying there on the table. Like he's not like, he's not holding it, he's not protecting it. If Ampyx wanted to come and have a look at it, like, she could take it. He's just kind of like brushed it aside. I should say they've just brushed it aside. Sorry.
Then I think she will, yeah.
So you look at it. Yeah, it's a summons. I mean, they clearly want Etienne to show up, and not like tomorrow. I think there's some etiquette implied in the scroll that if Etienne doesn't show up, well, if a person with a lot of status in this community didn't show up, it would be a mark against them. I'm not sure how much Etienne has to lose, but in the, what's the word? In the detente of how the big houses in the city interact with each other, it's in that language, and it just brings that whole complex of customs and etiquette is what I'm thinking of etiquette with it. Circe, what are you doing?
I think she had her hood up, and then she was kind of like kind of in a pensive mood with her arms on her knees as she's leaning forward sitting, and she's kind of like raising it a little, like raising her head a little bit, and kind of just like looking around at everyone and seeing what they're doing in the morning. She's kind of like just contemplating stuff, and then she sees that Ampyx has gone over to look at the scroll that Etienne has kind of tossed aside, and I think, because she's always going to take this opportunity, I think she sees that strange seal. I'm not sure she knows necessarily what it means, but she could and would do occult research on it to try to gain some insight.
Sure, go for it.
All right. When you say glory and curses,
it's just what we did last time. You rolled
Okay.
2d6 at a minimum, and however much glory you want to spend, and however many curses you want to invoke.
Okay.
I just wrote it out so that it was more explicit.
Got it. All right. So if I use 2 glory dice, does that mean I take the check marks off, or I add 2 check marks?
You take the check marks off, and then
Okay.
you roll with 4 dice.
Okay. Ooh, I didn't warm them up, so this should be great. Oh, wow. Okay. And then I take the
The top two.
sixes, 2 6s.
All right, excellent. Okay. Ask 2 questions below.
Okay.
Maybe that should be 3 questions. I don't know. A full success is a lot, but go on.
Okay.
But 2 questions.
Sure. What is the I don't know if this is the correct question, but anyway, what does this person intend, and what hidden forces are at work in the scene?
This person, so the form of the scroll with the seal is just on the face of it, it's standard highfalutin communications in the city from this particular house. But the details of the seal, just little details that you pick up, indicate that this person is an initiate in a sect within the cult of Lithor. And I think that, so what does this person intend? What hidden forces are at work in the scene? That you have heard that this sect is connected to what Kamil saw once in the caves under the city. I believe that was Kamil. Yeah.
I think
That, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, she may tie that in a little bit with what Ampyx related about her vision too. With the,
Yeah,
with the
definitely.
underground and such. And I think she'll kind of, like, I don't know if like Ampyx was like, looking after she read the scroll or what have you, but I mean, like, of course, Circe would reach out, but just reach out with her energies and then find this stuff out. And she would say a little sarcastically, a little sadly to Ampyx, seems like your god is busy here.
Ampyx, what do you do?
I've been learning that the gods never rest, and Ampyx looks very bitter about that fact.
This is a move towards Etienne. Why? Is this the person that he was, or they were, betrothed to?
I think Ampyx, you're knowledgeable enough about the people in the cult of Lithor that you could say for sure, yeah.
Yeah, Ampyx nods solemnly at that. And she'll add, as to why they still have business with Etienne, that I cannot say. And I think it would be clear to Circe that she cannot say
Sure.
because of her religious duties. It's not that she doesn't know.
Oh, no. I mean, like totally, totally got that. And she'll kind of smile a little bit at that, and then just say, are they trying to recruit him? Them. I'm so sorry, I keep messing up the pronouns.
I suppose we will have to honor the summons and find out.
Because That would be a very interesting person to call as a disciple of secrets.
Can
You
Etienne
would-
hear you guys having this conversation?
Yeah.
Is this like
The room's
happening
not that
right
big.
behind us? Like, because Etienne's kind of just watching in horror. Like he's just listening in like, what?
People care about you. They worry. They try to help. But you're horrified. I get that.
Yeah, I think once the horror sinks in, I think maybe if this is cool with you, Jonathan, that's when Etienne realizes that Estan is behind them and says, "So are we going to let ourselves get help, or are we going to do something about this together, perhaps?"
Ampyx, did you want to, Elle, did you want Ampyx, was Ampyx going to say something just then?
Oh no, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think Etienne is still in that kind of like, trying to in denial. Like there's still like, no, this is nothing. Is just, I'm sure they just want to see me and say hello. Like it's nothing to worry about. I'm sure it can't wait. You know, we have time.
This
Don't
is a
we?
seal. This is a seal of a house. Here, Etienne. This is not something that they're going to want to wait on. I
And
would
like
be
Etienne kind of
surprised.
looks to Ampyx and then like just put like for reassurance, like really, is it? Like can't we just go and keep partying on Carnival? Like do we really have to
Big child, oh my god.
I think Ampyx's expression is very heavy. Like she would love to just blow this off and like not deal with it and be like Etienne and free and just drink her days away. But alas, she has responsibilities to her god, and she also fears for what would happen to Etienne if they do try to ignore this and walk away. So I think she'll put a gaunt hand on Etienne's cheek and say, "I think you already know the answer to that."
Oh, so
We'll go
I
with you. You won't have to do this alone.
Camille, it's probably just the haze in your eyes, but it looks like shadows are moving in the corners of the room, swarming menacingly around Etienne. It's probably nothing.
Probably.
I don't think I say anything or address it. I think I'm just like perched up on a cushion, moisturizing my legs or something, and just listening to everyone speak and kind of trying to read everyone's body language and trying to maybe pick up on what they're not saying. But I just note this presence, and the predator is not showing itself. So it's just omens, and I know what omens are about if they're just trying to scare us.
I think Etienne kind of looks up at Ampyx's, you know, and finally meets her gaze and then like takes one last look around at everyone and says, like sighs and drinks the coffee and says, okay, let's, and turns to Estan. Estan, you are right. Okay, well, let's go. Maybe we can find a party afterwards. But
Of
let's
course,
deal
and
with this now.
if not, we will make the party ourselves, my friend.
Okay. And I think
Awesome.
unless anyone else wants to do something, Etienne gets up reluctantly and goes.
I would like to make a move
Hmm.
quickly. I'm trying to decide. I guess in this moment, I would like to try to understand another person and smell the truth. And I think I'm focusing on Circe, who has proposed that we'll all go with Etienne and we'll support them. And is also very interested in this seal. And I could see how intent she was on understanding it. And I want to know a few things. So I guess I'll just roll if that's okay. Let me open the dice roller. So I think this is like opening all my senses, and I'm still like rubbing oil down the length of my legs, and it's just this very like I'm tapping into the realm of sensuality and body language to really like hone all my senses and try to pick up on them. On what Circe is feeling. So
Awesome. You have a ton of glory dice, so
yeah. I'll spend a partial is 8 plus?
yeah, 8 to 10, yeah.
8 to 10, yeah. I'll spend 2 of them. They're there to spend. Let's roll. Okay, that's a miss. I rolled a 3 and a 4.
Oh, oh wait, no, you get 2 dice automatically. You weren't spending any of your glory dice?
That's 4 dice, a 1, 2, a 3, and a 4.
Oh, I wasn't looking. Okay, well, that's
My
bad.
senses lead me astray, or they mislead me. The GM will tell you what you think you learn. So I don't
Sure.
really understand Circe probably as well as I think I do, and I don't know if Circe has the same tells as a hot-blooded mammal. So
Circe, do you want to answer? What was the question you wanted to ask?
the question I wanted to ask are sort of is
Because you get to ask one, it's just going to be false.
yeah, like what are you really planning? That is what I wanted to know. Is there some ulterior motive in this whole thing? This we're talking about a cultist of Lithur with maybe some bad intentions.
I mean, I could make something up since it's going to be false. But
Yeah, I mean, go ahead. Go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. I think this is. It's fine. There's nothing going wrong here. It's one of these people gods that people worship. Nothing you can really get your mitts around like a cat god or a boar god, you know, those giant creatures just roaming the woods. These are like gods of paper and clay tablets. None of that stuff that matters or makes any sense. It's, you know, at the end of the day, it's just about what you can smell right in front of you. I think Circe's worried because Circe's weird.
Probably worn out from doing all that weird magic.
And it really absolutely has nothing to do with the shadows that you've seen moving around. That is completely unconnected. So this is a good time to break. You want to take like a 5-minute break and then come back in 5? Okay.
See you in 5.
I'll just give Ray and Matt a sec to come back. That's what I get for unpausing the recording early.
It happens, no problem. I think it's better than the alternative, which is to forget to unpause.
Yeah.
I have
And I-
done that too many times, and I've been so
Right.
upset. It's like,
Mhm.
I miss that wonderful phase. I missed
Mhm.
all of that action. I mean, it's just heartbreaking. It's like
Mhm.
just better to let it run and then just be like, okay, cut, edit, whatever. I mean, figure it out.
Totally. And there was one playtest where I forgot to turn the recording back on when people came back for feedback after a
Mhm.
break. I had to try to remember what it was. It was, yeah, not great.
I just wanted to say that I liked that scene before. It was really cool.
That
It
was
felt
great.
yeah, with both Camille and with Etienne. They were really good. Etienne's felt a little bit like an intervention.
Right, right.
Yeah, kind of.
You're not wrong. People care about Etienne, you know? They want them to do well, to be okay. God.
Do we have to declare when we think we've gained a glory die?
I mean, you could just mark it, but it might be more fun to say, especially if I'm not keeping track. But you don't have to declare.
Okay.
Were you thinking about a moment that happened?
Yeah, I mean, like my magic towards the scroll. It's like, had Camille eyeing me funny, I'm sure. So that's what I was thinking, like, gain that glory die back.
Sure, yeah, totally.
Oh yeah, I was thinking of taking one for being overwhelmed by responsibility in particular. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, that makes sense.
Your God's not making your job easy. Not at all.
I feel like there should be one for trying to avoid the consequences of your actions.
Yeah,
By Etienne.
especially for the sailor. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think.
he was definitely they were definitely doing that.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I'm not sure, like, I'm just gonna put that in before I forget it.
The others are really good too.
So, Matt, your suggestion in the chat was awesome, that what you're wrong about is something more dramatic, like that you think Circe's planning to assassinate Tanis.
Yeah, I would just like it to be actionable so I can like
Yeah.
play it suspicious or something. Just something.
No, that's a much
juicy.
better idea. I just blanked. So yeah, I think that works. So up the hill, this rather vertical city, to the posh district around the Temple of Lithur, with all these elaborate palazzo-like buildings. And there is this big, massive structure that is the house of Tanis's family. And it's one of maybe 4 buildings like it around the temple. Places of prestige where people just have to basically walk out their door and they're already at the temple. And it's got a big massive bronze door with like a big knocker, and it's just there. And I think, Etienne, you've probably spent a significant amount of energy trying not to find your way here, and here you are. So what's that like?
Yeah, it's not good. Etienne does not want to be going here. Does not want to have to face the consequences of their previous scandal. Wants to avoid, like, has been successfully avoiding and mollifying it thus far, and to go back into the lion's den is terrifying. But I think they're heartened that their friends are with them. So I think there's a lot of sideways glances to like, you know, all their friends, and maybe a bit of slowing down of the pace as they draw near. But then maybe I could imagine someone. I think that's it. I think Etienne like slows down, and like if someone's walking either if they're at the back, then they're just like that someone notices that they're kind of like, you know, maybe thinking about sneaking away.
Almost subconsciously, like the body wants to do it
Yeah.
automatically. I think like
I-
Estan, without thinking, just places a hand on your back just to be like, I've got you, right? I'm here.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think Etienne smiles at Estan like kind of sheepishly, and keeps walking a bit straighter for it now.
I'll make up
So
an excuse for
yeah.
you, like, oh, that coffee was a bit too strong. I apologize.
Oh,
I'm sure it's affecting you.
No, it's perfect. Estan, it's not that. We'll see. You'll see. You'll see. And
I think you might
I
want to
think,
market condition grim or loathing, perhaps. That
yeah, I
for
definitely feel like
Etienne.
that. Yeah. Just looking at them. Yeah, for sure. Like either wary or loathing.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think wary. I think
sounds
wary.
good.
Yeah. Let's do that.
So the house has these big moon-shaped door knockers on it, and it's waiting for you to knock on it, basically.
I think Etienne's not going to do it. I think I think Etienne's kind of like looks to Estan like, you know.
I
Oh yeah,
think
without hesitation. Oh, does Ampyx do something?
I mean, I think Circe gets impatient with the limitations of the rules and the customs, and then just looks at Etienne, and then just now she still has her hands covered because of the whole reality warping thing that happened last night. But what ends up happening is like out of her cloak, robes, whatever, like you can see her hand reach for the door, and then almost touch the bronze moon knocker or whatever it is. But I mean, instead of that, like the arm bends very strangely and then does like a quick like wrap with the arm bent in a strange way. And it sounds hollow, like not like you would expect a regular hand to sound when it knocks on a door. Let us in. We were summoned.
The door opens inward, and there is a hunched functionary standing there who's just oozing protocol and just, the sailor Etienne and company. Very well, you are expected. And steps aside and leads you in. And there's the rooms are all in the walls of the building, sort of like there's a big courtyard in the middle, and it takes, it's like 20 feet of solid wall, just walking down this little portico to get to the center. And then there's staircases leading to various rooms built, leading off of the courtyard. And coming down one of these steps is Tanis. And Tanis is kind of Etienne's opposite number. Tall, willowy, also likes the breezy fabrics, but not rakish, very proper. Everywhere that Etienne is a little tangled or loose in the breeze, Tanis is tightened down, nailed down, very finely oiled skin and nice ornaments on the arms and wrists, and a I don't know, it looks a little more weary than last time you saw them. And says, Etienne, thank you for coming. I know this is difficult. I of course, it's difficult for me also. I haven't really wanted to see you since everything. But I thought, I'm going to have a lot more responsibilities soon, and it's the changing of the year. It's a time to put things behind us. And I just wanted you to know that you can reach out to me for anything you need. I could throw a little business your way. They look weary, they look a little tired, but they also look great. What's it like for you, Etienne, to see them again?
I think it's really uncomfortable, but I don't think Etienne lets that show. I think they're very, I think they're very wary, like and a bit nervous. But I think Tanis's introduction lands well with Etienne. I think it kind of makes Etienne feel. I think it gives them a little bit more confidence in that there's no obvious signs that they're seeking revenge or that their secret has been exposed, or that so that I think they're a little bit relieved, but also still a bit unsure, a bit hesitant.
And Tanis seems nervous to see you.
Yeah.
He's talking too much, is dropping the formality that seemed to be coming out of that letter, that scroll.
And I think Etienne's picking up maybe and maybe this requires a roll or something, but I think that Etienne senses that maybe there's something more to this, like that there's something that's a bit odd. and that and certainly gets the feeling that they want something from Etienne.
You have the navigate move. You
Yes.
can use.
Oh, tense situation. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so when you want to learn more about an unfamiliar place or tense situation, roll 2d6 plus glory. Okay, so let's do that. And I've got some glory to spend.
Got a lot.
So yeah, I think we'll spend 2 glory die. So that's makes it 4. And remind me again, is there anything else that we can
You just-
add other than glory?
Well, you can always invoke a curse and add a d10.
Right. I don't think I'll do that yet.
4
But
dice is a
hopefully
lot.
soon. Yeah, 4 dice is enough. So let's do that. Oh, no, a 12. Okay, great. 2 success.
Great. Yeah.
So on a success, ask on a full success, ask the GM 2 questions below. Okay. And get 1 + 1 glory die when acting on the answers. What is the best way in or out of here? What danger is here? What is this place known for? What here can I use to? Okay. So first of all, what danger is here? Because Etienne is wary. And this seems like a little odd, and that Tanis wants something.
You see the golden egg that you thought you got rid of on a little side table in the courtyard. You also see the footprints in the courtyard of dozens and dozens of feet of heavily shod sandals of military exercises going on. What was the other question? What danger is here? And
I haven't chosen it yet, but
okay.
What? Okay, yeah. The other question is, what's the best way to get out of here without having to without having to commit to anything? Is what Etienne's thinking.
Well, there's the verbal way and the physical way. You could definitely fight your way out. You and your friends have a lot of firepower. You'd probably all make out. Talking's more treacherous. Tanis has a lot of power, both social, political, and physical in their house. And actually, you could get out of here verbally too, just by letting your reputation go up in flames. That would be fun. But barring that, you could make a run for the bronze doors. You could scale the walls and get out of here. You could, it might have to come to that. Yeah.
It's looking like it's going to be very difficult to get out of here without giving Tanis whatever it is that she wants. Is that the vibe?
Again, since you're not hoity-toity like Tanis is, then there are much laxer social rules for sailors than for high-ranking cult members and politicians. So yeah, you could be gauche, you could fart in church, and you could probably get out that way. It would just, Tanis is very powerful in the city, and it's about to become a lot more powerful. Kamil, what do you think about this? I mean, does Circe look twitchy to you? Like,
No, and that's what's kind of confusing me. I'm like really looking for something and I'm like ready to pounce if I need to. But I'm torn between watching Circe and also wanting to like stalk off into this complex and like look for things. Like I'm a cat and there's lots of little nooks that I could slip off in. This is my usual MO. But I think because of that miss, I think I'm tracking Circe. I don't think I can let her leave my sight unless I have more assurance. So I'm just kind of waiting really tensely.
Okay. Okay, excellent. Circe, Tanis says, "Oh, Etienne, it's really so good to see you again. You wouldn't believe who I had the most fascinating conversation with the other day. It was a priest of Lithur. You know they like their secrets, but this is a time when sometimes they are allowed to give up some of those secrets. And I learned one that just was a whopper. And now they've picked up the egg and they're just toying with it. Like, oh, these things that used to be so important, you know? A golden egg used to really mean something.
I think Etienne is like now in shock, like was not expecting this. Um, Etienne was ready to like after that first introduction, I think Etienne was ready to like, be like, oh, mon chéri, it's nice to see you too, but now Etienne's like, what? It's just happened, like, and I think this is another mood. Like, I feel like this is like, I think they're getting, oh, maybe not yet, like, but it's almost a verge. Yeah, horrified, definitely horrified. I agree
Yeah,
with
that
that.
works.
Recoiling, totally. You are so right, man. Horrified works for sure. Like, I think their eyes are just wide open, and I think they say it's nice to see you too. Um, I is that the egg that you gave me?
Oh, this I honestly don't remember.
Oh,
Estan, what are you doing? um,
I'm so worried because I can sense the tension and Estan's only good at like hurting things and is very aware that we're in a place of powerful people. Yeah, I think what Estan's going to do is like lean forward and like whisper into Etienne's ear. There's nothing that you can ask of me that is too much in this moment. Like just to let you know that Estan is like willing to like, if you want me to kill someone, I will do it. Like,
I think Etienne kind of like breathes a little bit easier, like knowing that, but doesn't like takes a deep breath as well, and just kind of um um responds like little bit more calmly, like, how can I help you, Tannis?
such a question. Thinking about that.
If it's helpful, I think that Ampyx would also speak up here.
Yeah, please do.
She looks very calm, has sort of like not moved a muscle, but her eyes are intense and shining when she looks at Tanis, and she says, "It's interesting that you mentioned this because I have learned something fascinating as well about goings on underground." And she sort of dramatically casts her eyes down as though looking kind of below the surface of the stone floor. I kind of want to use, I see I have a divine power called Secret Rites here that says mark one mood to gain influence with the god's followers here by showing a token of their sacred mysteries that the god provides you. Can that token be the secret that I'm intimating that I
Yes,
know?
totally. Yeah, that's good.
So I'll mark, ooh, I'll mark foolhardy. She's willing to go pretty far here to help protect Etienne if she has to. It's probably not smart.
I think that Tanis looks visibly stung and says, all secrets have their time when they come out. But grave are the punishments for those who reveal them too soon.
Ampyx nods. Well, that is my point exactly.
Tanis looks at Etienne and says to them, I'm not the person that you knew a year ago. And I don't want you pretending like you know me. I don't want you laying any claim to me. You wanted to be out of my life. You got it. I don't want you to think that I'm going to have any special preferences for you. I give you any special consideration or mercy in the weeks to come. And they're like gripping the egg very tightly. And it's only gold. It's soft. You can see it's solid, but they're leaving indentations on it. And Kamil, it's like, I think Circe and Ampyx see this too. It's like shadows are wreathing around her, swirling around her hand, around her body, around their body, sorry. And then it clears. And Tanis breaks off from locking eyes with you, Etienne, and flicks them over to Ampyx and says, smiles politely. I'm sure whatever secrets you think you know, you can't possibly have any solid proof of their truth. So I'll trade you a worthless secret for a worthless secret. And throws you this egg that's now all kind of mangled. It says, see what mileage you can get out of your revealed knowledge. And then a soldier in a heavy bronze breastplate with a spear and a helmet tucked under the arm, comes up to Tanis and whispers in their ear, and Tanis nods and says, thank you so much for coming. Please don't come again. And the Kamil, you see that the spear that this soldier has a stone tip, and it's this sort of blue and black that you recognize from that cavern that you saw under the city. What do you all do?
I would like to continue not being noticed and try to track the person who welcomed us into the building earlier. I want to see if they might lead me anywhere interesting. I don't want to get too lost in this place, but I'm pretty good at hunting and I've got some glory dice left, so I would like to try that.
Sounds great. Yeah.
Okay. When you want to track someone without being noticed, roll 2d6 plus glory and curses. On a full success, pick 2. So I'm definitely looking for more that relates to what I saw when I stepped through a gate and came out into a cavern that led deep beneath the earth under the city. Is there a curse that works here? I will, oops, I didn't mark my glory dice before. I will just roll with my glory dice and hang on to my, you know what? I got 5 curse track. I'll just mark a curse. I got 5 of them. It might be human scorning you for being too animal. I will just figure that out in a moment. But I'm gonna roll 3d6, so one of my glory dice and a d10. Let's go. Okay, the d10's a 9, and I have a 6, which makes it a 15. Ooh, fun.
Yes. Hooray.
So when I hunt, I have full success and partial success. I don't have monstrous success, so that is up to you, but I can pick some options here. So let me know what to do, Chris.
You definitely want to not be noticed. So pick 2 options and then I'll fill in the monstrous part.
Great. I want to not be noticed and learn where they're going or what they're doing. I want some clues.
Okay, yeah. That was so good. I think the hunched butler is, at first he's just talking to other staff and giving them directions and supervising a few things, and then you see them go down these steps down to the basement of this palazzo, and I think that there's barracks down there, and there's training grounds, all of these vaulted ceilings, these low vaulted ceilings, and there's a forge, not a forge, an armory where blocks of this stone are being taken out and somebody is napping them into spear point shapes, and every time they strike the rock, it's like a howl of a ghost comes out, briefly but sharply, and you can see these shadows swarming around these spear points, and they're being fitted onto spears, and people are training with them, and there's dozens of these spears just lined up in the armory. And the butler, he just got you down here. He's talking to the captain of the guard. They're talking about plans for the new year, and they say something weird about winding up time, rolling it up in a ball like yarn. And because it's a monster success, you see these shadows swirling around these spear points, and some of them are, every time this is struck, some of them escape. Mostly they come back in, but sometimes they don't. And you're not noticed. That's part of your success. So I'm not going to say that the shadows notice you, but I'm going to say that part of you gets tangled up in this shadow place. So part of you feels like it's like your own shadow. Like Peter Pan needed his shadow stitched back on. It's like your shadow gets tangled up with these shadows. And so now a chill enters your body, and you feel like part of you is in somewhere damp and dark and miserable, endlessly miserable. But you feel what? What do you say?
Is my shadow gone? Is it smaller? Like what is there? Because I took a curse here, so
you sure did. Your shadow is moving independently of you. It's mostly sticking with you, but is sometimes a little bit ahead and sometimes a little bit behind. And sometimes it seems like it's listening for something that you can't hear. Yeah.
Okay, I would have wanted to try to grab the stone, but when that feeling takes over me, something I've never felt before, I think it's all I can do but to flee with my shadow, catching on a little late and following me slowly out of this place.
Excellent.
As the wails of the stone ghosts follow me through the hallways. Cool, great, love that.
So you probably come back just as everyone's being shown out, and unless there's something anybody else wants to do.
There's one thing I want to do before we leave
absolutely.
Tanis's company. I think, since Tanis is being so polite, at least outwardly, Ampyx will also kind of observe the usual kind of social rites of followers of Lithar. And I think the traditional, like, kind of goodbye ritual in formal situations is that I think all of the followers of Lithar kind of sharpen their incisors so that they sort of look like fangs. And when they say goodbye to one another, they like kiss briefly on the lips and sort of like bite down on on the other person's lower lip to sort of leave these like two kind of bloody fang marks, like kind of proof that they met each other and had this like significant interaction. And so Ampyx will sidle up to Tanis and go in for the kiss. And as she pulls away, and we see like their blood is sort of mingled on both of their lips. Sorry, I'm looking at the chat. She is going to whisper, Lithur may favor you now, but she may shed you like old skin tomorrow. Remember that. And I think I want to be like using my Bane divine power, if that's possible, and like poison Tanis with this secret.
Cool. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so it looks like I just mark
Yeah, this
the
one doesn't have a
mood.
roll. Just
Yeah.
do it.
And Tanis will take a mood, it looks like. I don't know what that means
Yeah.
in terms of mechanics, but I'll do loathing for my mood.
There's a light of fear in Tannis's eyes now that is different from everything else they've shown in this visit. That is, I think they feel like the Bane settling on them. And a hand goes reflexively up to the lips, although you're not supposed to do that in the greeting, you know.
Mhm.
And just to touch where it's bloody on their lip, and kind of stares at you as you withdraw.
Ampyx licks her own lips as she does so. Tanis's blood is the first thing that she's let like herself drink for like months and months. And it tastes good. Yeah, that's it. That's all I wanted to do.
That's all. Okay.
I think Etienne's going to take the mood shocked by all of this. Um, especially that last exchange as well, and yeah, and just trying to get out of there as quick as they can.
Cool. And Ampyx, I don't know if you're going to hold on to this distorted egg. It barely looks like an egg anymore. It is a fair bit of gold, but I wasn't thinking about that.
I guess she'll keep it for now. I don't know what she's gonna do with it, but
Right.
maybe there's something to be done.
Knock out an intruder. I don't know.
I feel like it could be useful in the future.
Maybe.
She'll probably hand it
yeah,
over to Etienne to keep. It is theirs after all.
No, I don't think it wants to take it. Like, you know, there's too much history there, and I think Etienne just eyes it like it's a viper about to bite them, and just like and says, no, you keep it, Ampyx. I think it's safer in your hand. Maybe we can find a use for it, but I did not want to take it in the first place.
Yeah, she gives Etienne a kind of sidelong glance and sort of brushes past them. And as she does so, she sort of whispers, "Fine, but we will speak further about this later."
Okay.
Circe, what do you do? You all are clear of the building now.
I mean, I'm definitely gonna mark a mood because she's grim right now. I mean, there was like some kind of exchange when we were there, and it was just, I think she could feel like the tension and the threat, but not necessarily directed at Etienne, because it was like she invited them, but then didn't it was very strange. So that's why she's pretty much feeling grim at the moment. And yeah, yeah, she doesn't really know what to think. I mean, like she kind of like takes that look back, from under her hood back at the compound or whatever that was, and just turns back and says to Etienne, "And what was that truly about?"
Oh, Circe, I have no idea. That was very strange. She's not herself. I think something is very wrong. I mean, she did not even ask me to come to her bedroom.
Yeah, that's the first sign that someone isn't in their right mind. I mean, this giving back or giving of this egg, which doesn't look like an egg anymore. This feels like a bad omen.
Yeah, yes, this is not good. I do not like that egg, but for some reason I felt better that she had it, and not me. This is very strange. Ampyx, I think you may have some better understanding of what just happened.
You put that to the crew, Etienne? Okay. Well, if we want to talk about bad omens, I think I found one in the basement.
What did you see?
Did anyone see the spear that guard was carrying? It was made out of some kind of stone. Well, they have a lot more of it. And I think it comes from beneath the city. And I think there's spirits in it, or it's alive in some way because it screams.
I think the voices are being a little bit louder now in Circe's ears. And she starts to look worried.
These people take, they take. They don't know when to stop taking. They open up wounds and they reach their dirty hands in and they take more.
That's a very good way to put it. Wounds.
Well, it will take back what has been taken.
Did it seem like it was working with Tanis or against her?
Tanis is complicit, as is everyone in that building.
More bad news.
If it happens under your roof, you're responsible, or you are ignorant, which is just as bad.
I think Ampyx is very, very quiet in this, not because she doesn't agree with everything that Camille is saying, but because she's still sort of trying to piece out for herself like what she can do in this situation under Luther's watchful eye that will satisfy her own morals and her religious duties, and she has not figured that out yet. So when Camille says that about like if this happens like under your roof, you're responsible even if you're not like the person doing it. Ampyx is like feeling that in a very like guilty way. Maybe I should mark a mood for that, actually. I will.
Sure. Yeah. Totally.
And I'll take a glory die, I think, for feeling overwhelmed with responsibility.
That works. Yeah. Estan, I want to bring you into this more. You were ready to throw down in there. That
Yeah. Hmm.
I think that you were able to tell some things from this military guy who came in and from the footprints in the courtyard that a mustering when you see one. You know a military operation when you see one.
Oh. Yeah, I think that further confirms what I wanted to tell Etienne, which is I lean in close and I say, Etienne, I know that what was said there was confusing, but what was clear to me was that this is a warning that there is a part of Tanis that still cares about you, even if it's not something that they want. They want you to hurt, but they want to protect you at the same time. Does that make sense?
Etienne thinks for a minute and then says, strangely, yes, I think you're right, Estan. Thank you for your help. I was very worried in there. Your words were very comforting. You are a good friend.
I try my best, Etienne, after all that you've done for me, but I also know a call for help when I see it. But whether or not we are the ones to help Tanis is up to you.
Well, maybe after a little more drink and some time, maybe I will feel like helping right now. I just want to get as far away as possible.
And I nod and I say, of course. And I lean into Circe and I say, my dear, Etienne is usually my responsibility, but could you take care of them for me today?
Certainly. Where will you be?
I will see what I can do about this call for help.
But Tristan, you must not go alone and put yourself in danger.
Oh, there is nothing that can touch me without my permission, my friend.
You still should
Worry
go with
not.
someone.
And I think yeah, I'm like looking towards like my wing woman over there, Camille. Like I sort of go like, I feel like your hunt wasn't done earlier.
It may not end for some time yet. The shadows are growing deeper, and I must stick to them.
Then perhaps with your guile and hiding in the shadow, and me with my open heart, we will see what we can make of this. It may be for nothing, Etienne. I want you to worry not. I promise that we will not do anything to endanger ourselves or each other.
That sounds great. Maybe another time for a 5-minute break.
Hmm.
All
Yeah,
right.
sounds good.
All right. See you in
All
5.
right, see you in 5.
And I'm really hoping I get a full success. I know we love failure, but I mean, I really want to. I have an idea of like what the full success looks like. So
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, of course, I'm interested in what happens if those dice also cast a spell, but for your sake, I want it to be a full success.
There's just so much good stuff going on in this move. It's great. Oh my gosh.
I'm glad.
So, I'm just
So
gonna
yeah,
read it.
yeah, go ahead.
Just going to read it out. So make flesh new. When you use your downtime to return to the well of your sorceress power, you can heal your injuries and others, which, as we said during the off recording, which was like the moods, which takes the stance of the injuries. So I roll heart dice equal to my weakest relationship among all the PCs who submit to my care. On a full success, magic is creepy but restorative, and you all clear moods from one column. Further, if you choose to mark one curse, they can each clear one curse. And on a partial success, you all clear moods from one column, but something else happens as well. And then I use the dice as if I was casting a spell. All right. I guess that's how, I guess that's how I read it. And
Yeah.
then,
Okay.
Okay. Oh, and on a loss, you don't clear any moods and you use the dice as if you were casting a spell. One other PC can hearten you to try and save the enchantment. So let me take a look at this because weakest out of all the relationships. So that would be Ampyx.
I will
Since
say,
Mhm.
I've been thinking about this. I don't
okay,
think Ampyx would submit to this.
really?
If
Oh, that's
Circe
true.
says that it's going to be, a sorceress ritual, Ampyx will say very politely, no, thank you. But the look she gives you with that like one eye that's not covered with the kaleidoscopic eye patch is like, hell no. Like,
Gotcha. I see.
yeah.
Could still be good for you and Etienne. Mhm.
Does Circe try to influence Ampyx here?
Well, I mean, like what she is going to say though is she's actually going to take her hood down and she's going to just look Ampyx in her, visible eye and say, regardless of where it comes from, it is still meant to heal. The intent is the same, no matter where it comes from. Are you sure you don't want help? Freely given. Any cost will come to me, not you.
Again, you see conflict in Ampyx's expression, but I think she'll say, then take care of it, Etienne. And she'll leave you to it.
I mean, she gets it, but I mean, like, she just gives that look after you, like, stubborn. All right. All right. So, so 4 die. Wait, 4 heart die.
Yeah, 4. It would have been 3 if Ampyx had joined. But
Right. So 4. Okay. Warm these babies up. Woo. Okay. Okay, so 1 6, 2 5s, and a 3. But we're not worried about the 3.
That's a full success. That's an 11.
Okay.
That's great.
Great. All right. So yeah, I think what happens is it's like, we go into a room back at the brothel, of course, and then we are, because I think she upgraded us. I think like, Madame Laburnum like had upgraded us a little bit, so we were able to be in one of the nice rooms, maybe not a big room, but a nice room. And Circe will have you lay on the bed as comfortably as possible, and then she'll make some mystical passes, like as she would normally do, to try and like, it's like kind of like clearing motions and just like, because it's supposed to affect her as well. And then what she'll do is it's like sliding into the water, because she'll murmur to you about the memory of like when we went skinny dipping out in the sea, like when we were on the one boat. And then she'll like have her voice murmur over you like the waves of the sea. And she's making these mystical passes as she slides in next to you on the bed. And what you end up seeing is that as she's making the mystical pass, it's like you can see almost like the water, like water rippling in the air, like over us. And it's like you feel the touch of the water through you and melding us both together. So the liquid that she's made of, partially made of, will flow over your body as well. And so it's like this weird, like camera ripple that you will see, almost as if we're starting to float inside water, inside the universe. And it's like, you could see stars reflected in this. And then I think we can both clear moods from one column. So go ahead and clear some moods. I would definitely clear from hesitant. And yeah, I think if you have your eyes closed, I think you'll feel these sensations, and maybe you're able to see this memory again behind your eyes. And but it's happening outside of us as well. So again, it's almost like being in the water, seeing the ripples of starlight at nighttime. And that is what is healing us. Yeah.
I love it. I think that was awesome.
So good.
And I think Etienne is like kind of like sighs and has their eyes closed, and you can see as the water kind of washes over us, you can see their clothes and their hair kind of like rippling in the water and like flowing at like and reminiscent, like the viewers would, if this was a TV show, would be seeing like flashbacks to like when they were swimming together like in the actual ocean. And so that's awesome.
Right. And I think in the bed, I think, as it, like the current goes out from this, as we become healed, I think it's like we are the last scene or the last moments of this is when it calms down. It's the night light, maybe from the street, like, kind of like coming from the window. And then we are both in the bed, and we are like unclothed, maybe under the sheets, and then the satin shines in the dim light from the street. And it's like, her head's on Etienne's shoulder, and then maybe Etienne will kind of like lean his head on hers. And that's how we fade to black.
That's so good. Okay, Estan, you and Camille, what's the plan?
Yeah, I look towards Camille, and I want this to be something like I'm using language that we usually use when we like attack the night and go into a bar, right? Where it's like, I'll take the left, you take the right, except we're breaking into the like, into the palace instead. If that makes sense. Right.
Absolutely.
Right. And so we have I basically what I'm trying to communicate is like we'll split up, but we're supposed to meet up regularly over and over again to sort of like check in with each other. So I feel like we have a way of tracking each other's movements, whether it's a bar or a town or an island. Like we have this system in
It's like
place.
an internalized timing too. Like there's this
Yeah.
regularity, or like how much time is between our check-ins. And I think it might even vary throughout the night, but it's very specific to how we usually like to do things. And at some point I'm jumping the bar and grabbing a bottle, and then we have to meet up for a round of shots at some point with whoever our hangers on are. And
Right.
that rhythm that we know.
Yeah, and I think like to settle into that rhythm first, like I have to reach out like a hand to offer my pulse in my wrist, and I breathe in a way that's like this is my rhythm, and I'm trying to sync up to your rhythm right before we start.
Mhm. Yes, this speaks to Camille. This is something I might have done with my family, and it brings me some peace and some surety when I've been feeling grim. I don't think I'm attuning to the wilds, but it definitely it centers me.
Nice, nice. Yeah, and I think I'm trying to use my tactical knowledge, right? Like to start off with to answer these questions. When you take a moment to examine your tactical assets and vulnerabilities, roll 2d6 plus glory and curses. So I will, let's see. I also think I'm gonna say I'm diving headlong into danger here. Like
Definitely.
just to put in that die first. So I'll go ahead and spend 2 glory die. Let me, so that's like a total of like 4d6. Okay, let's see how it goes. Oof, my God.
Can I spend
That's
some
like,
heart dice?
You
yes,
sure
please. And
can.
I rolled 3 ones. That is like so brutal.
That's a lot of ones. Do I pick how
Uh,
many to spend right now, or is it only one?
Say again. Oh,
Do
you
I
can
choose?
you're not spending, you don't expend hard dice, you just roll all the ones that you have in the relationship with Estan,
Oh yeah.
which fortunately seems to be 4. Oh right, because the totally overpowered move from last time. So yeah.
It was already 3, so even if it only
Yeah.
went up by 1, I'd still be at 4. So I will roll 4d6, and I think what this is I'm going to invite others to act like animals a little bit, and while we're like grasping each other's arms, I think I dig my nails into Estan's forearm and draw a little bit of blood and like smear it on his arm in maybe like a pattern that's reminiscent of the way that the white lightning was like all over my body during the dance that I did. And well, let me roll the dice first. Here goes. Okay, yeah.
nice, nice. Oh yeah, that looks much better. That's really good.
Much better.
Yeah, yeah, super good, super good. I think there's a moment like you realize by doing so that Eston is like really nervous, right? And like Eston murmurs to you, Camille, I have to protect Etienne no matter the cost, but promise me that you'll help me keeping from going too far.
It is a pact we will have to swear to each other.
We protect each other, but not at cost to ourselves. That is the promise.
Only at cost to them.
Yes, exactly. And then like that's where the blood is drawn, right? To like help center everything.
Yeah.
Perfect, perfect.
And you can-
Yeah. Nice, nice.
So
Hmm.
you
So
went
that,
from a total fail to a full success because of
yes.
Camille's roll to hearten you. So that's good.
Perfect, perfect.
So now you get to
Ask 2
ask 2
questions.
questions.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to ask like does it make sense if I ask the question, but there's a like how can I attack or defend most effectively from here? I want to quotation mark attack Tannis, like catch her unawares, like to get her alone,
That
basically
works.
is the goal. So like what's the best way? That's my first question. Should I ask the second one already or should we answer the first one first?
We can answer the first one. I don't have strong opinions about it.
Are these sort of as we're moving through, like not necessarily montage style, but is this like questions as the action sequence unfolds kind of thing? Or
Ooh, yeah.
That's something I think this place is like a fortress. Like first you have to get in.
okay, we're strategizing.
So once you're in, I can tell you how to catch Tannis unawares, but I think
Sure.
there's
Yeah, I can make the first question is what is the safest way in?
I think that's
Right.
good. Yeah. So it's mostly stone wall and there are these windows, maybe 4 feet on a side, about 15 feet above street level. Like the first floor doesn't have windows. So you can, the front gate is, when it's closed, barred, it's no way in. But if you can find a way to get 15 feet up, there's an open window there on the second floor. And you're like 7 feet tall, so you're already halfway there.
Yeah, it's true. Meaning, I'm gonna boost you up, Camille. Right? I use my 7 feet to get you up the rest of the way. It's the
And like, there's
plan.
probably also stuff in the street that you could use. Some workman's stuff left behind. I hate to say a crate because that's like so trite, but maybe
I
some
think
rope.
Estan and Kamil can do this, just the two of them. I
Okay,
think like
excellent.
Kamil like coils up like Estan's body, like it's this very like we know how to move together, I think, in more ways than one. And I think Estan knows how to use like the momentum, and you know, I know how to spring from his hands to get up. And I think this is something I would do with the great cats of the Suat Mountains as well. So I dig my claws in like a foot from the top, and then one big stretch to the ledge.
Yeah, it's a cliff just like your home. It's actually
Hmm.
not that different.
Except they don't make them to climb here. I don't understand it.
They don't want you to climb them, but they're totally climbable. Okay, so you get up there, you get up to the sill, and it's an empty bedroom. And there's heavy drapes on either side of this window. There's a 4-poster bed in there. What do you do?
I go up to the curtains, and just like a cat would, I just start shredding them. And then I take all the discarded pieces and quickly fashion a something to hoist up Estan, and use some leverage, because I'm only a cat girl.
Exactly, and it's 7 feet of like a
So much man, so much himbo.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I'm even more dense than I look, right? Like, so in more ways than one.
Yeah. So we see Camille so graceful and deft, like get up to the top, and now I'm just like just straining, like trying so hard, sweating to pull you up over the wall. Are
But
we in?
yeah, right. So I climb over, I like get up, I make sure that no one sees us, right? But
Cool.
yeah.
All right, you're in. And to answer your second question, Tanis clearly has a lot of authority in this place, and one of the things that authority affords you is time by yourself. They have to be around other people a lot, clearly, but they get their time is at their own discretion. So eventually they're going to be alone. And when they because this place is such a fortress, when they think that they're alone, they think they're totally safe. So where are you headed to? There are rooms and meeting spaces on this floor. There are some heavy stone stairs that go up. There's some stairs that go down to the first level. And of course, from there, you can go underground if you want to. What do you?
Yeah, I feel like in keeping with the genre, but let me know how you feel about this, Chris. Like, I feel like we have to capture in some like sort of like ritualistic purification, something underground thing, right? Like, yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, okay, sure. You all can pad underground. I obviously Camille's gonna be totally silent unless something goes wrong. And Estan, I think you can be really light on your feet too, like surprisingly so. And down there, there is I'm trying to think of the ritual. Like,
Is she maybe
yeah,
divulging her secrets or something? Or
sure.
it's a Lithurian ritual, right? Or maybe Elle has some thoughts about
Oh,
this, or is it not? Am I confused?
no, that's good. I think it is, I think it is not a Lithuanian ritual. I think that Tanis is in a back room underground, and there's like a big stone table there, and you can see a figure on the table, that, I'm trying to think how to say this. I think that there's there's a figure like sitting crouched on the table and arguing with Tanis, and the figure is, it takes you a minute to notice, but the figure is translucent and just basically a shade, just like a shadow, but not flitting around, and has the bald head and woolen garments of a priest of Dusha, and Dusha, the god of death and hunters and beginnings. And Tanis is like making these huge motions and dancing around with other people to keep this shade in place. And the shade is very angry about being there. And Tanis is like pausing while the others continue dancing to like ask this priest some questions. And I think what Tanis is asking the priest is, how can we get more of this stone, this soul stone? We we're gonna find it eventually. You just need to tell us. And I think there's like a chunk of this blue black stone on the table, and Tanis is gripping it tightly. It looks like a big chunk of rock, and this shade of a priest is saying, this is wrong. You shouldn't be doing this. This is not going to end well. I think it would be kinder to you if I didn't tell you. And Tanis takes a hammer and smacks the rock, and it seems to it seems to cause the priest pain. And the priest says, all right, fine. This is, I'll tell you, this is going to be your own fault. And you can see that, like, down here, Tanis looks much older, like looks like there's some sort of strain or effort that Tanis is laboring under that wasn't apparent when you were all up in the sunlight. And Kamil, your shadow is jumping all around, and there are other shadows that are jumping and tumbling with your shadow. What do you do? Either of you?
Well, Etienne might have the, or Estan might have the initiative if I'm wrestling with my shadow. But if
Your shadow is wrestling
Estan,
with other shadows, but you are free to act.
okay,
Yeah.
and
In fact, did you know anybody in the forest who died? Any animals that you used to know then?
yeah, yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
who were they?
Um, any of the cat clan? Do you mean that died?
Yeah, yeah. Elders
Uh,
or childhood friends or anything?
yeah. Maybe a child of a direct child of Suat who is like the an auntie for me, like the go between from me and the great cat, and a source of admiration.
Yeah, I think that there's a shadow that is recognizably your auntie who
Um,
is sort of doing a kind, I don't know if cats don't really do play bows, do they? But is coming up to your shadow and trying to jump and spring on your shadow, and your shadow is responding, but it's recognizably just a silhouette. It's your auntie.
yeah, and it seems like they're not experiencing distress.
Uh, yeah, yeah, they're basically fine. Uh, but you feel cold. You know, it's it, your auntie seems, I mean, not in active distress, but lonely and sad.
Yeah.
Eston, what do you do?
Ooh, I think like the moment I recognize this is a priest of Dusha, I close my eyes and I recall, like, I think about Circe in my mind, like the last time Circe and I walked together and Circe witnessed how death walks with me. I close my eyes for a moment and I open my eyes again and I see that version of death, that child of me, like on the other side of the room. And I
Oof.
say, if in seeking help for Etienne, death, if you would have me, serve your needs in this moment, anything to protect my friend. And I'm trying to beseech uh to death here to try to like, if I can convince death that I will work for them, that this will ensure Etienne will be protected, is the goal.
Great. Okay, you've got 4 dice to roll with.
Yeah, and I will. Can I also apply the glory dice to this roll, or is it like purely the debt roll?
The way I was imagining it is purely the debt roll,
Okay,
but
okay.
you can always add a curse die if you want to. That
Ooh.
you could do.
Curses, curses,
Yeah.
curses.
Curse die
Yeah.
adds D10.
Yeah, I know exactly. I'm gonna say like death follows in your wake feels very appropriate as a curse, right? In either that child form of mine or like other versions of it. Um, so I'll go ahead and take that curse. I'm gonna roll with all 4. So the debt die is a normal d6, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay, and then the one
D10.
d10. Okay, okay. So let's see. So I just take the 2 highest, right?
The 2 highest, yeah. So that's a 13.
13.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Great.
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
The 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 shade of the little boy you used to be. But what is it you're asking for of death? To protect
I'm a-
Etienne?
yeah, like I can recognize that Tanis is somehow a threat, whether or not she wants to be. Like, I don't want to have to hurt her, but if she is like, if there's a way to save her, to turn her away from this path in order to protect Etienne, then I'll do it. But if there's no way, and I'll have to anger Tanis and everything that she represents, then I'll also do it, right?
The shade of the little boy you used to be. Walks around the altar toward you. Nobody else, besides you and Camille, seem to see this boy, this kid. But they look up at you with infinitely sad eyes and reach up their arms up to you. This kid is tiny, had no idea how tall you would grow up to be, and it's just reaching up there, his arms like they want to be picked up.
Yeah, and without hesitation, I reach out to the child, to myself, and I recall like my own mother reaching out to me to hold me in a similar fashion.
So good. Yeah. You lift the boy up, they seem to weigh nothing, and he whispers into your ear, she shouldn't have those rocks. Those rocks shouldn't be in the sun. They should be way down deep. We like seeing you all, but it's not where we're supposed to be. Not everyone agrees, but it's bad. And I'm relating this as the shade, but as Dusha is the god of death, I want to say like because you're asking for a boon, right? You're asking for help in this, and I think the boy gives you a silver bracelet. Like you didn't see them holding it before, but they hold it up to you, and they they say, wear this, and the rocks can't hurt you, and maybe also it'll make it easier for us to find you.
I nod and I allow the boy to put the bracelet on me. And the whole time I'm like looking at Camille, and I have this face of like, it is the same face I make before I make a bad decision. Does that come across? Like before I leap into a bar fight, before I like, so you see it very clearly on my face. And I let the child go, and I say, um, we can't let her keep those things. We have to protect her from herself.
And I just hold your eye contact really intensely for just a moment, just to see like your resolve. And when I do see it, then I know that it's what we have to do. So if you have the first move, then I cede it to you. If you want me to start things, then I will do so.
Yeah, I will. Because I'm using my devil may care. When you do something dangerous and show a cavalier disregard for your own
yeah.
safety, roll with +1 glory die for any move. And so I'm going to go do that. And I think I'm also overreacting with violence in that I leap from the shadows, right? And I go straight for the stone. Like she's about to like smash down on it again or something similar, and I grab it. The goal is to like grab it from her, basically.
Oh, okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Roll.
And I do announce my intentions. I do say like, on behalf of Dusha, I will return this to its rightful place. Right.
Just booming out from a corner of the,
Oh
of
yeah.
the chamber.
Oh yeah. Totally. All right. So I will use 2 glory dice for this.
Glory.
And
Go.
you have the 2 you have the bonus for devil may care.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, so that's okay. All right,
So I
all right,
think
all
it's
right. That's 5 in total.
5 total, yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
Okay.
Oh, a lot of ones
Okay.
again. But 6, 7, 8, 9. So
9,
that's like
that's a partial success.
a.
So you could go with that, or Camille, you could roll the heart in that.
What does a partial success do?
Oh no, it's
So
okay. I
this
think I
is
can.
basically clash head on, right? That you
Yeah,
were.
yeah. Sorry, I forgot to say. I'm happy with a partial success. I still get to pick one,
Mhm.
which is take something from the enemy, which is what I was trying to do. So I'm still willing to, if you want to save the heart dice for later, I think I'm okay with.
Where do the heart dice go after we use them once? Do they go down 1, or do they only go down
You
when
know,
you...
with the rules as written, there's no cost to doing it, which is actually something I might want to consider. That
Okay.
like they don't get used up, and maybe they should. But currently, there's no cost to trying to help.
Oh yeah, so might as well. Yeah.
I would like to use the heart dice. I would like to see Estan really follow through here.
The only cost is if Estan were not to use any of your dice, then you would lose a heart die and mark experience.
Okay,
but
cool. And I guess I'm implicit in whatever we're doing a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to do this, sort of representing that moment of held intense eye contact, and just the knowing that this is our move. So that is a 10.
Well,
Ooh.
it's really a matter of, yeah, right. It becomes your Estan's roll becomes a 10.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Ooh,
yeah,
nice.
so that's still a partial success.
Right.
Perfect. That's still, oh, is it? It's still partial? Okay.
It's still a partial success.
I got the math. Yeah.
8 to 10. So, but really you just want to take that rock from, but you said you're overreacting with violence. So you're doing this in a violent way?
Oh yeah. Like, I think like I knock over the table, right?
Okay.
And I assume like it moves through the shade of the priest, right? As I grab the rock. But I'm like standing my ground, staring down like at Tanis,
Yeah.
and I say, whatever it is that happened between you and Etienne, I recognize the dark path when I see it. It's not too late for you to turn back. And I'm really speaking out of turn here, right? Like I recognize that I'm just a lowly warrior speaking down to this like incredibly politically powerful person.
I think Tanis smacks you with the hammer, and because you didn't choose to take -1 mood.
No.
So Tanis is panicked to see you, and still has the bane that Ampyx put on her. But this is a tussle, and Ampyx is maybe like you're reaching for the stone, and Ampyx's hammer comes down on your hand. So mark a mood, and I'm not sure which one is most appropriate for this.
Oh, I feel like I marked foolhardy because it felt like that's what was like I left myself exposed and open in general.
Oh, you already had it already marked. Okay, good. Or you marked it for this. I mean, yeah, yeah. Okay, great. And you get this stone, and the shade of the priest seems to be closely bound to the stone. So when you pull that stone off the table, the priest comes with it and is looking at you and says, please return this stone to Dusha's bosom. Please. And all the stones, they've made weapons out of them. Please return me to the cold, stony embrace of the deeps.
Oh, who am I to deny a request like this? And I very carefully pocket the stone. Like it's the same place I pocketed the scroll earlier.
Okay.
And I say, priest, take heart. I will protect you, and I will do as you say.
And Tanis is still there, has two conditions marked, is looking at you horrified, and shouts, guards, intruders.
I want to assert dominance.
Okay.
I want to leap onto the table. And I want to like on all fours and like lean over where Tanis is sprawled on the floor and where the guard and full sight of the guards, and like a jaguar, I just want to just like roar out, stand down. And I just want to like back them off.
Okay. Go for it.
And by Estan a moment of power. 2d6, I'll roll one glory die. Let's see. That's 5.
That's a total of
Estan, you
5.
got any heart dice?
I do, don't I? Let me double check. I'm pretty sure.
Yes, you do.
Okay, let's see. I'm just trying to see how many it is. 3. Okay, I will roll all 3. And the way that this looks is as Kamil is saying this, like yeah, I like rip off because like I have like this harness where I hold the spear and like all my other things. I pull down the robes and like I throw them down, and then like I take on this like animalistic kind of, you know, pose in order to like assist in the
Excellent.
domination effect. So let's see how it goes. I'm gonna roll 3. I
3 + 4
have
is a 7. Okay.
Okay. All right.
So in a loss, they assert dominance over you, and you must submit or withdraw.
Yeah. So
Ooh.
mark experience,
Okay.
and Estan, you also mark experience. And yeah, I think Tanis, although there's this panic in her eyes, Tanis sort of realizes belatedly that this is their house that you are in, and they have all these levers of power around them. And she jerks back at first and then leans back towards you, Kamil, and says, "You'll be lucky to survive the night, you bitch."
Ooh.
And then runs out of the room. Now, remind me, Ray, what was the move that you rolled a miss on that Camille's trying to help you with? Oh no, you were trying to help.
Right.
You were trying to help Camille do the, okay. So, right. So you reduce your heart dice with Camille by 1. And you also get the experience you marked. Okay, so you all are in the bowels of this building. You're underground, right close to a military training area and an armory. And there's this shadow of a priest kind of following you around. And Camille, you've still got the shadow of your auntie kind of tagging after you. This is probably a good place to break, and then we can maybe see what the others are doing. You want to come back in 5 minutes?
Works for me.
Sounds great. Sounds great.
And then I think we've got like a half hour or so before we lose Jonathan. But okay, talk to you in 5.
All right. See you in 5.
Okay, I want to cut back to Circe, Etienne, Ampyx. What are you all up to? Ampyx, I know you didn't want to be involved in the sexy healing magic of Circe's.
I do think she wants to have that talk with Etienne, although she's giving Circe and Etienne plenty of time to do whatever they're doing.
Yeah, I think there's time.
Yeah, I'm definitely happy to oblige.
I mean, we could just like, obviously fast forward to that. I mean, like,
Yeah.
Etienne's out of the room and, finds you somewhere.
Well, would Etienne come to Ampyx knowing that she wants to speak, or will she have to come find them?
Oh, good question. Where did Ampyx leave it with Etienne? I think. Yeah, what was their last interaction? Just remind me.
I think she had offered them the custody of the egg.
Yes, that's right. And which Etienne tried to fully decline and run away. Yes, I think that the interaction with I think Etienne's feeling a lot better after Circe's sexy healing, and I think but I think it was still very disturbing. I think that they're still horrified by what happened and that whole thing with Tannis. So and Ampyx seems to have more insight, or seemed to have much more insight and with into what was going on. So I think Etienne would seek Ampyx out. So so where does Etienne find Ampyx?
Maybe by the water, in that same spot where she did the augury.
That's perfect. And I think Etienne is probably also thinking about maybe getting out of Babylos, like going down to the ship, just like not like ready to run yet, but like just making sure everything's okay with the boat, and that if they need to go, they can. So I think that's perfect. So Etienne kind of like sees Ampyx as they're on their way to the boat, and kind of like instead of going to the boat, goes to see Ampyx. And Ampyx, I'm so glad I caught you. Uh, what can you tell me? What was that with Tanis? Why did you kiss her?
Ampyx. I think when you walk up to Ampyx, she is in the midst of like singing an old, or like maybe humming an old song to herself, maybe like one of your favorite songs she would sing back when she was a bard. But she like stops abruptly as soon as she hears your voice. Like you've like walked in her doing something private almost. And she turns and says, "With any luck, it was a kiss of death."
Ah, well, that makes a little more sense. Ah, although Estan seemed to think that perhaps Tanis is in trouble of some kind, and was a bit concerned for her. What did you think, Ampyx? What is she doing?
If indeed Tanis is in trouble, then it is trouble of her own making. She and the priests of Luther are trying to find something underneath the city. It's releasing all sorts of shadowy things. Nothing good could come of this.
I think Etienne looks down and is a little bit uneasy, but doesn't seem to be as worried as perhaps they should be, and steps a little closer to Ampyx and kind of guiltily asks, "Do you think she knows about the egg?"
think I think there's a mix of like Ampyx. I think she's kind of like, of course she knows about the egg, but also she thinks it's cute. Like this is like kind of why she likes Etienne. Because they have a lightness to them that she does not anymore. Um, I believe she does. And actually, that is what I wanted to talk to you about.
And,
I,
oh, sorry, go.
no, go ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to say Etienne's face kind of falls a little bit, um, but at the same time is kind of like sighs with, and you can see that the sense has a bit of relief as well. Um, and you continue.
I fear that with the turning of the years, I will be called by the fair to divulge some of my secrets. Like the truth of your betrothal and its sudden end.
And I think Etienne, I think you know, Ampyx, that at one time that would have been horrifying to Etienne. But in light of recent events, I think Etienne kind of like puts a hand on your shoulder and is more kind of sympathetic. It's like, I understand that would be very difficult, and I'm glad that this in some ways is no longer a secret that you have to keep. And
It,
I kind of feel like that's almost like a soothing, like except it's not a carousing move. Like
It's true. It's true. Yeah.
so I just thought I'd mention that, but
It's
yeah,
something to think about because you can
keep
market a mood even you know, if you just are role playing that mood. And so
Mm,
it seems like there ought to be a way to clear the mood similarly, but
mm.
it's something to think about. Yeah.
Go for it, El.
I think Ampyx like puts a hand atop the hand on your shoulder, or the hand that you put on her shoulder, and lets that touch linger for a moment before sort of grasping your hand and taking it off. And she says, Tanis may know about the egg, but this whole circumstance is of importance to Luther's cult on the whole. It's a betrayal of her rights. And I fear if I'm the one to tell the secret, things will be much worse for you. Do you understand what I'm asking you, Etienne? Asking you to do?
I am not sure, but it sounds like you're asking me to tell my own secret. Is that right?
I think Ampyx's response is silence and looking up very pointedly at the moon.
I think Etienne kind of follows your gaze to the moon and then kind of looks back a little bewildered, like I'm not you get the feeling they don't fully understand, but they're a bit too embarrassed to admit it.
Um, I think Ampyx kind of closes the distance between herself and Etienne and is looking them very deeply in the eye, and says, you know, it was a very, very foolish thing that I did back there for you with tennis. Why do you think I would have done something like that? And there's a sort of like softness in her look that you haven't seen in a long time.
And I think Etienne is kind of being coy here a little and is like kind of leans a little closer and is and says um no Ampyx, I I don't know why did you do something foolhardy for me.
I think if it's okay with you, Jonathan, Ampyx will lean in and do the sort of goodbye kiss ritual. And like you feel the sting as she bites down very gently, but on your lower lip.
Is this like
Yeah. Mm.
oh, I was gonna ask, sorry, I was gonna ask Girl, is this like is is this like the death kiss? Like that he saw Ampyx give to Tanis?
It looks the same, although she doesn't kind of whisper the curse that she did with Tanis, but like it looks the same to Etienne if they're not familiar with the ritual.
I think
But I don't think it feels mean. I think It
Yeah,
feels intimate.
she's doing it very
Yeah.
gently. There
It's
isn't
gently. Yeah, there's not. Yeah.
the venom in it, so to speak, that there was with Tanos.
So I think Etienne kind of looks a little confused and a bit, yeah, and a bit. There's a that I think Ampyx sees. I think this is actually quite a powerful moment for Etienne. Um, it's Etienne's kind of torn. I think the sting goes. I think Ampyx would notice like that the sting goes deeper than in Etienne's eyes than what she might have expected. And I kind of feel like they don't do anything for they're just kind of left on the edge of this precipice. Um, and it looks for a moment that they may fall or turn away. And it's just kind of that my frozen moment for a second. What does Ampyx do?
I think she takes a step back and like studies the look on Etienne's face. And I think there's like a sort of disappointment. Like she was hoping this would be the time when Etienne takes responsibility. And when she sees that that's not happening, or at least not happening immediately, she says, with that like kind of coldness back in her voice, I'll give you some time to think. And she'll just like turn and start heading off the beach and back toward the brothel.
Etienne, what do you do?
I think Etienne kind of I think Etienne is just left rooted to the spot. I think like this is Etienne knows that Ampyx expects something of them and wants something, but Etienne's not entirely sure what. And it felt the feeling like the kiss and the pain of it sparked, I think, sparked a lot of memory for Etienne of that core of them. It kind of like resonated within them to that core dilemma of wanting what they can't have and trying to pursue it, but at the same time trying to run away from it. And so because they fear it, and so they're just left on that precipice, longing and wondering and afraid.
That's a hard spot. I want to. I want to cut to Circe and see what Circe is up to.
I mean, I feel like she would know that Etienne had left the room, but I think she would pretend to still be asleep and then just kind of like let her mind drift, and then she would like hear the waves as they lap. She would like, hear those voices, but they're kind of distant. They were distant like during that whole, healing ritual. And she realizes that she had touched Etienne with her bare hands. And for whatever reason, it's like, maybe like, reality didn't warp him. So she's not sure what to make of that. And she's just kind of like letting her thoughts drift about it. And she's not sure what's going on. But of course, like, sorcery being what it is, I mean, like uncertainty and just randomness and chaos. I mean, she'll just take the moment as it goes and then just turn over on the bed and not look at the ceiling, keeping her eyes closed, and then just let her mind drift.
I think that a child appears to you, a shade of a little boy, and appears in front of your closed eyes. You see this kid looking lost and afraid, but worried about somebody else more than about themselves. And it's you. I don't think you would know this, but it is the shade of the child that Estan used to be. And the little boy says, the child says, you have, it says, Estan's in trouble. Estan and Kamil they're in big trouble.
And then I think her eyes fly open and you almost, I mean, I don't know if you want to end this way, but I mean, basically it's like I see her eyes fly open and then you see like it's like a camera shot of like just panning on her like being on the bed, and as her eyes fly open you see like around and behind her on the bed it's like immediately like snaps into like cosmos or in shadows behind her.
Nice. Like your background, your video background. Yeah. I
But
love it.
even more crazy, it's just like like things are starting to swirl around her
Nice.
as her eyes snap open after seeing the little boy.
And the boy's gone, I think. Yeah. That's a good place to leave it.
Yeah.
So thanks you all. Great stuff.
Wow.
Oh, so many great scenes. That conversation between Ampyx and Etienne. I wanted to say a heart to heart, but it's not really clear where Etienne's heart is.
Oh.
Or if Etienne knows where it is. It's like a misplaced thing. Oh.
I feel so bad for Ampyx. Just like,
yeah.
God dang it, son of.
Do I gotta draw you a picture?
Well, I mean, like I'm running a between game that's very close to its end, and I have two characters that have just been longing looks and like just all about the subtext and not the text, and it's just like it's really annoying and it's killing me. I hate romantic suspense, but I still love it because I want to watch. Feeling it. So
yeah. I loved what Ray put in the chat. Tell me how special I am to you.
Yes,
it's,
so good.
It's so good.
Oh
like that's a move right there. That's yeah.
Such great tension moments. I mean, like with Ampyx and Tanis, and then just some goofiness, but I mean, like there's like again, it's like the dance between and with each other of Estan and Kamil, like to try to take care of business, but oh shit, things are going wrong. It's like I think the die rolls were pretty much like, no, you're not gonna do this. You're not gonna do this tonight. No, nope, sorry. And then oh my god, yeah, I mean, like Jonathan, you're playing like Etienne like so I don't know. This guy's such a player, but I mean, like they're such a player, and it's just, and you kind of want to protect him, but you don't because you're like enabling them at the same time, and it's like, oh no, what are we doing? Oh God. So I don't know. I mean, it's just such a layered character, and I love the way you're playing them, and it's just awesome because he's I don't know. So stars for everybody's characters for definite sure tonight. Oh my gosh. Um, and then Camille's reaction to Circe, and like kind of being wary of like, well, what is her actual intent? I mean, like, am I getting it? Am I not getting it? And then being not distracted, but like refocused on like the actual problem at hand. So that was cool too, like some of that shadow business off to the side and behind the scenes. Um, so yeah. No, I mean, like, I enjoyed this session just like I did the last session too. Oh my god, these scenes. So wish, I don't know. I don't even know where the release valve would be. Like, who would be with Etienne, or what would happen to the characters, and like, is there going to be some kind of tragic ending, or are we just going to end on the snapshot next week wherever it lands? You know what I mean? I mean, like, I have no idea. So much stuff. I don't know.
That's a tough question. Yeah, I feel like I was still figuring out my pacing through this, like,
Yeah.
and what I initially thought was going to happen when you all came to the palace was not what ended up happening. But I thought what ended up happening was better. It worked out really well.
I only had one
Yeah.
question about like in terms of mechanical feedback. With and I don't know if this will ever happen, but I mean, you mark all moods in any one column, either replace one marked mood with a scar. So I wasn't sure how you wanted that indicated, in the character
Yeah,
keeper, or if that's going to be a separate thing later on, or mark a curse. So I mean, I get the whole idea of like, oh, you've used up this column, so now you got to scar yourself or do a curse, what have you. But I mean, like, I wasn't sure like how that got indicated in the character keeper. So
let's
that was just
see.
that was just a question on my part.
Yeah, and actually, I think I might change that because now that now that marking all the moods in one column gets you taken out, I think it doesn't make sense to mark a scar then. I think you should mark a scar when you mark doom.
Mm.
And I wrote that somewhere else, and I forgot to take it out of that cell. So when you mark all the moods in one column, you're taken out.
Because there's also the references to the scar when your curse track is filled, I think.
That's
Yeah.
that's
You
what
change one mood
yeah,
into a scar. Yeah. So it's down in the
yeah,
curses section as well. So
yeah.
I mean, yeah, I wasn't
Um,
sure like how you wanted that particular mechanic to work or not. So
yeah, I'm changing that. So
okay.
now you just mark it when you fill your curse track.
Okay.
But I am still wondering about Doom and Glory advancements, like how to make those feel more substantive and more permanent, because there's all these curses that you get, but they go away when you clear your curse track after you fill your curse track and clear it. So I'm thinking about that. I would love to hear feedback from you guys. I think I should start with Jonathan since you got to go.
Yeah, apologies everyone. I am going
No,
to go in
no.
about
Totally fine.
5 to 2 minutes. Yeah, it was so much fun. It's just everyone's so great at portraying their characters, and the tensions between that's created in the playbooks that's inherent, but it's really like I think all the players are really like just bringing them front and center and making them work and alive, and it's electric. Like it feels that way, like in all the interactions between the different characters, how that is really I think it's drawing me in like to the game, like that those different worldviews and the way that the way that the players, all of you, are portraying that and going after them and driving them home. Like, and so stars for everyone for that. And I think that's really, really great in the key of the that's what I find most enjoyable about the game. And I hope I'm playing Etienne. I'm trying to tread that line between that the rogue and but also like that innocence and goodwill. So that's so it's I'm trying to keep it on that line, which so if I'm straying too far or anything.
No, I love Etienne. I love everything you
Yeah.
bring to. I think it's fantastic. Yeah. But mechanically, any stuff that didn't really work or that you were not sure about?
I think I think that mechanically I love the moods. I think the moods are really, really work well and help to mechanize and also emphasize that conflict and that tension and the impact of the scenes on the characters. So I really like that. I find I'm, over the last few sessions, I haven't been using or as many moves or making as many rolls as what I would expect. I think over the last session and this session, I probably rolled once per session. And I don't know if it's just because of circumstance or because the moves the fiction hasn't gone there, or I'm not successfully kind of moving them, bringing them into the fiction and pursuing them specifically. But I that's just something that I've noticed, that it's not like I would have liked to have flirted with Tanis, but it just that was just not going to get anywhere. And especially because that's what got Etienne into trouble in the first place. And I couldn't use the stealth move in that scenario either, because Etienne was front and center on the small stage and couldn't kind of leave it. So yeah, that's just an observation I have. Yeah, but so I think that those are my main mechanical feedback.
Yeah, thanks. That's helpful. It's really helpful. Matt, did you want to say anything? You can also just hit me up on chat.
Sure. Shout out to Ray for calling back to our wing buddies and bringing Kamil into that little side mission. I thought that was really cool, really fun, and it's nice to it's nice to have someone bring a character along for something. And that was really fun scene. And to call back to our the way we navigate our nightlife. I thought that was a really funny way of strategizing. I've never heard that before, thought about that, and that was really awesome.
I was thinking because Essen's just a very simple person who approaches different things the same way.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and we went straight ahead, direct approach, and it went good until it didn't, and that's just fine. And I think we're gonna do great. I think we're gonna come out just fine. And everyone else is slaying me. I'm dead. Yeah, I guess mechanically
cool.
The main thing I thought about was it's definitely worth tinkering with the heart dice. It's I think it'll be fun if they go up and down. I think it'll be fun if there's some kind of interesting decision around when to use them and when to save them, or around how they affect your relationship as you use them. I think definitely want to think about like it being a clear correlation and not having to like, all right, so we lost a die for this now. Why does that happen? How does that come into play? Like it would be nice if it's smooth there. I
I mean,
don't
if it's
totally,
clear why you're gaining or losing a heart die.
yeah, I don't totally know how it works exactly at this moment, so
Right.
I won't offer any specifics, but just that's always a tough one because sometimes it's like, oh, we lose one, and then we have to figure out a reason why we do, and it kind of sometimes slows the fiction down to just like, all right, we're gonna do this little side thing here in the middle of an action scene, but that can also
Yeah.
be really fun too. So, I feel what you're saying, Jonathan, about the roles. I guess part of the reality is we're just playing 5-person PBTA and kind of like taking our time with the drama and everything, and so it's kind of just I think how that goes sometimes, but I do love to make moves, and I was happy to make I think 3 moves this session, and they were all very exciting. And yeah, I'm pleased. I like the moods a lot. I like it's getting us all thinking about our characters' states, and I love curses. I love that it's a D10 so much, and I love taking them. So yeah, I like to see this game grow. I also just like how much it's changing all the time. Like I haven't really play tested a ton in this stage, and it's just really fun that you're bringing your enthusiasm to your game, Chris.
Thanks. It's in flux for sure. I'll let you two go, and actually, yeah, I'll start by just letting you two go, and then the rest of us can talk. It won't be long, I think. All right. Take care, you two.
Bye, everybody.
See you next week.
Take
Yeah.
care.
Take care.
Okay, I don't need to keep the rest of you very long. I just wanted to, see if there's anything else you want to add.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I have some stars and wishes and also some like mechanical stuff. I'll try to go through all of this. I was taking notes on my stars and wishes all session, so I have a lot, but I'm gonna try to be brief. Yeah, I really like the mix of tones that we've had really in all the sessions, but I think this one like really showcased the range of like humor, heartbreak, action, and that was all really fun. I mentioned this in chat, but there were some like absolutely raw, totally metal lines from both Estan and Kamil. I didn't write them all down, but like throughout the session, I was like, damn, that's amazing. Basically every time Ray and Matt opened their mouths. I really loved Mads, your descriptions of all of your sorcerous stuff this session. Like the healing ritual with Etienne was like really beautiful and sexy and amazing. I also really like the small moment of Circe knocking on the door at Tanis's estate. I just think you're bringing out like the weirdness and the kind of intimacy of the magic really well. And I really enjoyed how Etienne's refusal to take responsibility for anything really drove the episode today. That was really fun. And for my wishes, I would love to have more scenes with Camille next time. It's like on me that that didn't happen, but I definitely want to do that, especially if next time is our last session, right? Okay, yeah. Then I definitely have to do that next time. And I guess what I'm looking forward to narratively as we come to a close is, I mean, it feels like Ampyx's arc is like leading up to her making a choice between her own desires and Lithir's. And I don't know how that's going to play out yet, but I hope to have something suitably climactic with that next time. I'd also love to interact with the curse mechanic, but I also didn't roll it all this session, I think, because all of my powers are like marking moods, which is also fun. That's not a complaint. But I'll be looking for opportunities to do that. And a question mechanically. So you mentioned in chat, Chris, that marking 5 moods now takes you out of the scene. Are you thinking, I'm thinking of like other games like Masks, which has like a similar like condition marking mechanic, or like Stress and Blades in the Dark. And in both of those games, when you come back to the story, you're basically like clear of conditions or stress or moods. Are you thinking the same here or?
Yeah, but you would clear all your moods.
Okay, cool. Um, And I guess my other like comments, I did sort of miss the soothe move.
Yeah, and I wasn't thinking. I forgot that I forgot you had so many moods marked, and I forgot that I had made the change that marking that many moods would get you taken out.
Yeah, I mean it's not a problem. But I'm also like kind of thinking about the world forces and the debts, which we haven't really interacted with. And I just wonder about is it really seems like the juice in this game, or maybe it's like our particular group, but it really feels like the juice is in the interpersonal relationships between the characters in the party. And they're reacting to the world, but like I don't know, the forces of the world seem much less central or like much less drivers of our story at least. Um, so I'm just that's just I guess a
Mhm.
general comment about like how that those mechanics might kind of fit into the way the game has been played so
Mhm.
far.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, interesting. I mean, and Estan did a little bit with Beseech the Forces, but um, it's meant to be very powerful, and that might hopefully that'll become apparent next time. But it is true. This group has been much more about the relationships, which I love. So good. Mhm.
But yeah, I think that was it. That's all I have to say.
Okay, that's great. Thanks. Let's see. Ray, do you have anything you wanted to say?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sorry, Mads, I want to get back to you, but I wanted to hear a little bit from everybody.
Mhm.
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. Unless you want to go first, Mads, because like, without the coffee and the food, do you want to talk
Oh,
first?
yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, like, basically, it's like, again, stars are like what I said before. I mean, I'm horrible at like writing stuff down exactly like, for what I want to star, because usually it's a lot, and then I'm just like, reacting, and then you can just catch it on my face on video. So again, stars for everybody's characters, because I mean, again, like falling in love with Estan is not a problem. It's great. And then like, your buddy scene with Camille was awesome as well. And then Ampyx, I mean, like every single time Ampyx is in a scene, it's just like, God damn, this is like tense, tense, tense. Ride the wave, and it still hurts. Ouch. No, it's great. I mean, I love it. I just absolutely love it. And then Etienne, I mean, like he's such a lovable himbo, or trying to protect him, even though he probably shouldn't be, and they shouldn't be. And it's just like, oh my God, what are you doing? What are you doing? Airfix is right there. God damn it. Okay, sorry. It's starred, but also can complain. No. And then I mean wishes. I mean, there's just so much richness, even for just the bit that we've done so far. And I can't believe that we're already at our last episode next week. And it's just gonna be, just have to accept, it's like, okay, whatever slice we have of our particular life in this particular segment of a four shot, that's what we have to accept is going on. And no, it's gonna be great. I mean, like, if I get to interact more with like Camille and Eston next time, fabulous. I mean, it's weird, right? Because I mean, like, it didn't feel like we had anybody or anything that was really being our antagonist, but yet there was still a lot of like hidden stuff that was calling back to our past, and then sort of like coming back now into our future. And I still don't know what it means. I mean, like, out of character, I still don't know what it means. And then definitely Circe doesn't either, so she's just reacting. And then like now at this call of Eston's in trouble, it's like, oh shit, like, she's gonna bamf for whatever to get there and help them out. So, I mean, maybe more action stuff next time. I mean, I guess to try to like wrap things up. I mean, I don't know if we're gonna be just as dramatic or have time to be just as dramatic, but again, we don't know. I mean, I it kind of like I can see like some of your bits like trying to work, like like timers with the glory and the doom, like things kind of driving towards certain things, like, you know, maybe like again being timed, but I also don't feel that as much as if, you know, we did have the pressure of a full-fledged like fit Forge in the Dark game or Blades in the Dark or whatever. I mean, I just feel like we are reacting and interacting with each other as, you know, our party, and we are going with the pacing as far as you'll allow us, but also as much as we need to be able to try to communicate with each other with all the other stuff that's going on. So I don't I mean, yeah.
I want to understand more about the pacing that you're talking about. You're saying that the mechanics don't seem to be enforcing a certain pace, or
Well, I mean, like I think it's because you have so many moving parts, I feel. I mean, like
yeah, there are.
between the curses, because I mean, like, you know, we have the option of picking out like if we're going to activate our curses, you know, curse track to be able to you know, push and do stuff. But then of course that counts us down to more doom. And then like, you know, the glory and doom, you know, as its own timer. And then like, you know, I think debts kind of push us as well. But as Elle said, we didn't really like, you know, engage with that
Right.
as much recently. And then hold on, let me see. There was yeah, relationships are relationships, but I mean, I guess the main thing is just like it's kind of like nesting your timers, I guess your in-game timers like within each other. So you've got like the moods, which could push towards like, you know, doing a curse, which has its own clicking, ticking talk to
But
the
when that
doom.
when you do all of those, that ticks doom just once.
Right,
So
but I mean, like
curses
it's
are, yeah.
there's still like it still like feels like there's things nested within, and then gets to the big timer, the big clock of glory doom. You know, so I mean, like it's an interesting dynamic. So I haven't quite seen it this way. I mean, I haven't played Blades in the Dark, and I've only played like a few Forged in the Dark. So I mean, like, you know, just kind of seeing the differences, like what's similar but also like different. So I mean, it's
Yeah, and
interesting.
the glory isn't really a timer anymore because that just ebbs and flows depending on your
Yes,
character moments. But the
right.
doom is certainly a timer counting down, and it's really stolen from Apocalypse Keys, which where you know there's ruin moves and ruin advances are like the doom marks here,
Right.
and the ruin track in Apocalypse Keys is like the curse track here. Although there's more story bite here for curses than for doom, sort of the inverse of how it is in Apocalypse Keys. And I want to think about that. But it is interesting that the timing or the pacing feels a little bit amorphous to you, and like it's not clear, you're not clearly being driven in a certain cadence.
Because we also haven't like as said before, I mean, like we haven't engaged in the other stuff like the world forces and stepping up our debts. So because
That
we
hasn't
haven't called
mattered.
upon those, it hasn't pushed us as far. I mean, I'm wondering whether partly it was because it's like, you know, we're willing to accept whatever slice of our lives in these characters, like, you know, that we're able to do in this, you know, four shot. Because I mean, like, you know, I've done a couple of playtests before, and it's like, you know, whatever we get through, we get through. Okay, whatever we test, we test. It doesn't have to be a complete arc because sometimes that's just not possible, you know, unless you're able to do like a full 12, like, you know, 12 episode campaign or whatever, you know, to really like, you know, like, hey, let's take the boat out and let's run it for as long as it'll go. I mean, but yeah,
And
in
I
a
would
limited
love to do
way.
that with this game. I don't think I'm there yet with the rules, but
Mm.
like that would be fun. Yeah, I think maybe I'm not using those levers of the world forces like I thought I would be. And that's interesting to me. But there's so much more we could talk about with that. I want to get back to Ray.
Yeah.
In the, you know, because we only got a few minutes.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Like I'm definitely like whatever feedback or thoughts I have are very like because I know the game is very much in flux. I'm really looking
Yeah.
forward to like breaking it down and talking to you about it um when we get to it. So, but basically Um, I really like how everyone's always excited about the heart dice and trying to. It's like a very. It's a. It's a desire, a base desire that role players have, right, to be able to help each other. But I really like how it's connected to the word heart. I like how exciting it feels, and how I just like being able to roll so many dice. It's not something that always happens in PBTA. So and the fun thing is, it doesn't matter how many roll dice you get to roll. You can still roll lots of ones. That's how things balance out. So, and I also I really enjoyed the different ways the characters got to interact across different things. I really like how. Oh, thank you. I really like how Ampyx and Circe have their continuing magic kind of like oh wait, sorry, my extra helpful husband is this one's still full. Okay. Like, it's making sure I'm topped up with tea. Okay. And I had a fun time with Camille. I had a super fun time engaging with the death god thing. I was like, I'm gonna do some beseeching. Like, I want to see how this feels. Like, Chris, I feel like you should go a little easy on yourself, because playtesting and designing a game is very, very difficult, especially for a game of this complexity. I'm wondering if, like, because just take what I'm saying like as partial, right? Like, you don't have to like go all in on it, but I wonder if there are like GM moves where you can like sort of like forcefully push in as like one of the world forces, right? And like exert yourself on us, right? Might help like engage some of the other levers in a fashion. um I'm also really interested in the downtime but not really phases that you were talking about, which could be really interesting because like it was naturally happening anyway. Like there was that high point between me and Camille, and then that connection point between Ampyx and Etienne anyway. So if it's something that tends to happen in the game, it could be something very interesting to. It doesn't have to be as rigid as what Blades does, right? But it could definitely be as simple as, this is the set of moves you do when you're being intimate, and this is the set of moves when you are kicking ass and taking names, right? Like just shifting focus between those two things. I really enjoyed Estan being a weapon. Like I felt very dangerous. I was like, ooh, I could kill Tannis right now if I wanted to, because we're not in combat. Like I liked feeling, I like that feeling of, I don't really have a term for it other than the invisible mechanic, right? Where even if you're not using it, you can feel its presence and its weight. I really felt like, man, I could be a weapon and like help Etienne in this moment, but then fuck things up in the next moment. So I'm not gonna do it. Right? It felt really good. Um but yeah, I did miss the soothe move because like I could sense like we were trying to like do it for each other a lot. And so this is the tricky point of like watching what players do and then trying to figure out how to like mechanize it. But also it still depends because it's still very early in playtesting. I know you have lots of other groups that you've run the game for, and not everybody will run as intimate necessarily. So it depends on what your intentions are.
This group is so good that it's almost a problem because
Yeah.
it the interplay you all have with each other is independent of the rules a lot of the time. And so they're great sessions. It has very little to do with the game design. So that's an issue. And but also there are all these great moments that come up that I just keep going back to my mind, like, okay, but how can I write the game so that it makes that
Yeah.
moment happen?
Yeah,
And that's what I
exactly.
really love to do. And I get what you're saying about the soothe move. There's no longer this thing like masks have where you just have a quiet conversation with one other person and clear their conditions. So yeah, maybe I need to bring that back. This is the first playtest where I haven't had that. So
Yeah. But it really depends also because like for example, like in Apocalypse Keys, I made the decision of you can't, because right, I borrowed the bonds anyway from Hearts of Wulin. And in Hearts of Wulin, if you don't have any bonds, you can just roll in the moment to generate a bond and help. But in Apocalypse Keys, I made the decision to like remove that ability to be like, if you didn't spend the time investing in the bonds, then they're not going to show up when you need them, right? So if you don't have that in place, it could also still say something where, you know, in this world of gods and forces, like even if you want to reach out and be intimate, there's no support for that. It still says something about the game. So right. So, but yeah, there's like a lot of different directions this game could go into that I'm really interested in. Even if it's in a very complex state, I just love seeing all this experimentation. There's like so much potential that it's really like a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm having a good time. Yeah.
Awesome.
Definitely having a great time. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
same.
you. Okay. Awesome. Thanks so much. I'll let you go. And okay with you all if I post this to Gauntlet?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Cool.
Take
All
care.
right, take care, everybody.
See you in a
Bye,
week.
Take care,
everyone.
Matt, to the
Thanks.
test.
See ya. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.